and usually takes a second or two. Okay. We should be live now.
Hey, music.
Everyone just grabs their phone.
Just to check and see if we're live.
Is this no phone?
Live. Check. Yep, we are live. Oh God! Oh God! Turn it off! I'm going to go share the link now. Okay.
Well, welcome folks to our 2022 Extraordinary Gentleman live stream for Extra Life. I feel like I'm shouting and I don't need to be that animated.
Why are you so loud?
He's very excited.
I just love so much.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Of course, we are raising money for the Children's Miracle Network. Our charity of choice is UK Children's Hospital. We're going to be playing with our guest Ian Morgan Mullins.
Hello, hello.
And I guess, has everybody gone ahead and shared the link? Because we can go ahead and kick it off if y'all want to.
I've shared links to the Facebook page and YouTube.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I've just shared the link on my personal Facebook for our live stream.
Yep.
We'll go ahead and give a shout out to the people who have already donated. We have 3 donors so far. It's never too late, and no donation is too small to go ahead and help a worthy cause. So please go ahead and give us a little backup and help those kids.
Also, on the counterpoint, no donation is too big.
Yeah, exactly.
No donation is too big or too small.
And if all you can do right now is just share the link, that's fine too. Just get some eyes on it, so maybe somebody that can share it can throw a few dollars towards the children.
All right, if you guys want to, let's go ahead and go around the table and tell you what we're playing as. I'll go ahead and start. I'm playing as Sir Dram. I'm a human fighter.
Hello, I'm Clink. I'm an auto-gnome sorcerer warlock.
Oh, this is going to be tough. Well, I am Eltho Melithray. And actually, my job is the toughest because I got to keep the other 4 people in there alive.
Hey, I keep you alive.
I'm Frank. I'm an undead cleric.
And I'm Cordell. I'm a human barbarian.
Hi.
All right, if you guys are ready, we'll go ahead and kick this off.
Please don't kick me.
Too late.
I want to kick you.
All right. So, for those listening from home, let's go ahead and lay out the adventure that is in front of you guys. So this is what you've been told. This is what you know. And this is where your journey is going to begin. The kingdom of Sovaria has been peaceful for decades, with only minor troubles in recent memory. The small folk and the nobility alike have prospered under the guidance of Queen Rosetta, and relations with neighboring realms have never been better. But of course, it's often when you least expect it that trouble arrives. Only yesterday, the palace in Sovar was rocked by a surprise attack from a fearsome foe, an undead monstrosity called a Lich, one apparently claiming to be Matthias, the former court mage to Queen Rosetta's grandmother, Ava. This tale rings true since Ava banished Archwizard Matthias for delving into dark magics. It seems that now he has returned with a hunger for vengeance. Although the villain's attack was repelled and Matthias himself destroyed by the defenders, the cost was a heavy one. Crown Prince Theodore was killed in the chaos along with a great many others, leaving Sovaria in mourning. Worse, this hard-won victory is only temporary, for it is the way of liches to return again and again, truly defeated only by the destruction of whatever unholy artifact anchors them to unlife. So your time is short, and Savaria's leaders are battered and broken. Thus, Queen Rosetta has put out the call for other heroes of the realm to assist in this dire moment. The 5 of you have answered that call, and are charged to find and destroy the source of Matthias's power before he comes back to finish what he started. If he isn't stopped, this current tragedy will be just the beginning of a new, dark era for Savaria.
Ooh.
So before we actually get into play, are there any questions from any of you about this situation? Or do you have any commentary? Do we need to clear anything up before we actually start rolling dice?
I think I'm good on my end. How about you all?
Do we already know each other?
That's a good question.
Well, that's largely up to you. You might be acquainted with one another in passing, since each of you is skilled and capable enough that the Queen has put out a call to you personally. You're probably at least aware of one another, even if not all of you have ever met face to face.
Sweet.
Gotcha.
Yep, that about
That
covers it.
clears it up.
All right. Then in that case, here is what you know. This will be important going forward. So these are the details of the situation. So you know that a powerful lich attacked the palace yesterday. With no warning of any kind, this mighty undead creature appeared in the throne room of Sovar, the capital city of Savaria, announcing himself as the banished archwizard Matthias and declaring revenge upon Queen Rosetta's family. Her Radiance, the Queen, was barely able to fend the villain off with aid from her son, Theodore, and the Royal Guard, but it wasn't until the current archwizard, Leighton, broke his staff of power that the Lich was actually defeated. So this was a nasty, knockdown, drag-out fight between some other powerful heroes and this Lich, and it's when a very high-level wizard showed up and essentially pulled a Gandalf. You know, you shall not pass. That is what destroyed Matthias. But the cost was heavy. The Crown Prince was slain in the assault, so while Queen Rosetta survived, Matthias exacted a terrible price with his visit. Theodore, heir to the throne of Savaria and general of its armies, was blasted into dust by the Lich's disintegrate spell, leaving his daughter Valeria to inherit both of his offices and titles. Likewise, Bishop Gabriella, the leader of the Church of Varus in Savaria, was also killed, and Archwizard Leighton lost an arm in the fight. Varus is the goddess of peace, for your information. That is just made up along with the rest of this adventure for your convenience, so we don't have to necessarily deal with other deities. Now, you have no more than a week before the Lich returns. With his soul ensconced through vile rituals into a phylactery, Matthias only needs time to rejuvenate his physical form before attacking again. Archwizard Leighton estimates a week at most before the Lich reforms, given the violence of his destruction. So the Archwizard's sacrifice of his staff has bought time, but how much is uncertain. Could be plus or minus a couple of days, so you might only have 3, 4, 5 days, could have 8, 9, 10 days. So he's ballparking it at a week for you. Alright, your goal is to find and destroy the Lich's phylactery. Matthias has already defied death once, and he will continue to do so until the foul magics that bind him to this world are broken once and for all. As long as his phylactery remains intact, he'll keep coming back to plague Savaria. And, considering the state that everyone's in, the land is unlikely to rebuff a second attack. Now, you are not alone in your quest, and this is where we shall begin. All of you have been summoned to the throne room in Sovar to meet with her Radiance, Queen Rosetta.
Does she have a stone I could use?
Jesus.
Maybe to help communicate with everyone.
Now,
this John's
Queen
not
Rosetta is a
happy.
woman of great poise and dignity, perhaps the greatest ruler that Savaria has had in recent memory. She is renowned for her wisdom as well as her diplomacy, being a scholar of magic, as well as a patron of the arts and sciences. Her radiance has aged gracefully, and despite her years, it's still obvious that she was once a warrior. Like all Savarian royalty, she is a knight dedicated to the preservation of peace, and yet commands many powers of healing and protection, which were likely a significant factor in her survival against the brutality of Matthias. For all her accomplishments, however, it is clear, as you stand before her, that the Queen is a grief-stricken woman. With Crown Prince Theodore having been obliterated in front of her, dark circles mark her eyes, and rawness fills her voice. Nevertheless, she holds her head high. "Champions," says the Queen, "I must first thank you for answering my call. By now, word has reached every corner of Savaria about the gravity of our situation. Surely you have heard that Matthias, the arch-wizard, banished by my grandmother, Queen Ava, for his betrayal of our values, his research into foul magics that tainted the very air and character of Savaria, has returned, claiming that he shall exact revenge upon all of us for this supposed slight. It is often that villains such as Matthias see themselves as victims. The victims with which I am concerned, however, are the common folk of Savaria, who will suffer greatly if he is not stopped. I am unable, while I must command the defense of the realm, to hunt this foe myself. Likewise, the great archwizard Leighton, and she indicates the man next to her, who is a tall fellow with a long white beard, and he's wearing ornate robes, the sleeve on one side of which is sort of rolled and pinned up, so that you can see that he's missing his left arm. He is also in no real shape to pursue Matthias. Thus, while we concentrate our defenses against a possible second attack here at the capital, it falls to you to take on the defense of Savaria. I beg of you, take the fight to Matthias. We shall do all we can to aid you. You must find the Lich's phylactery. You must destroy it, or return it here, so that we may find some way to do so before Matthias returns. I fear that if he does, we may not survive a second assault. So before any of you have any questions, the Queen takes the opportunity to introduce her other advisors. So also present here in the throne room are Crown Princess Valeria. This is Theodore's daughter. She has a reputation similar to her grandmother's, a stalwart defender of Savarian peace, and she earned her knighthood several years ago, but she is still a young woman, and she seems well aware that she has much to learn about the art of governance. She definitely looks kind of uncomfortable with her new responsibilities. Until yesterday, the princess served as honorary second-in-command to her father, who was general of the Queen's army. With his untimely death at the hands of Matthias, Valeria has now assumed that position. But it is likely the title of Crown Princess that weighs most heavily upon her. Theodore having been an only child, there are currently no other heirs to Savaria's throne. So if anything happens to Crown Princess Valeria, then the Queen's line ends with her. Now, I've already described Archwizard Layton. He watches you with a serious expression, and despite his great age, he seems fairly spry, and his eyes sparkle with life, and perhaps with power. There is an aura of gravity around the man that matches his expression. And you can tell just by looking at him that he commands strong magics. Nonetheless, the fact that he is without his famous staff, which is a badge of office for the Archwizards of Savaria, and likewise, with only half of the arms that he had yesterday, tells you something about the kind of threat that you're facing. Because Layton is a man who can control the weather, who can travel great distances with a single step, who can open gateways to other worlds. And yet, against Matthias, he barely survived, even with help from the Queen herself, from Prince Theodore, from Bishop Gabriella, and from all of the Royal Guard. There is also, to one side, a shrouded figure wearing a dark cloak, and her face is partially covered in shadow. You can only see like the lower half of her face. There is also a cleric of high rank among the advisors, who is introduced as Prior Cornelius. Cornelius is the acting high priest of Varus. Since Bishop Gabriella perished yesterday in Matthias' attack, Cornelius is now the interim head of the Varesian Church here in Savaria, as the next highest ranking clergyman in the realm. And much like the Queen, he seems solemn and downcast. His expression is one of determination, but he looks very weary, very careworn. There is a tall, heavy, muscular man standing next to the throne. And he is wearing sort of forest-colored garb. Lots of browns and greens, leather armor, and a forest green cloak. And over his shoulder is slung a very fine longbow. This is Baron Findlay. And this is someone that you might not have expected to see here, because Baron Findlay is actually a descendant of Matthias. Now,
Kill him.
now, the Archwizard had children before he was banished, and obviously before he eventually returned as a lich. And his family has lived with his disgrace for a couple of generations. So, Baron Findlay is Matthias' great-grandson, but his reputation is sterling. He spent his entire life dealing with the tarnish left on his family name by Matthias. So, he works very hard to try and prove that the Findlay family is worthy of the Queen's respect. He takes very good care of the people in his barony, and no one really has an unkind word to say about him. He's a very serious-looking fellow. There are also two people here that you do not recognize, because all of the others here, except for the woman in the cloak, are, they're leaders in the community. These are people who are important to the Kingdom of Savaria. And so you know them by name or reputation, even if maybe you don't know them on sight. But these others you do not recognize. There's a woman in a very severe plain gray dress, kind of like an old schoolmarm dress, you know, where like the buttons start right under her chin and the dress goes all the way to the floor.
Keep going.
And she has silver hair that is pulled back into a plain bun and little glasses that are perched on the end of her nose, little pince-nez.
Okay.
And beside her is a man of middling years with kind of gray hair at his temples, and he is dressed in commoner's garb, and around his waist is a belt that is hung with the tools of some artisan's trade. Small hammers, pliers, measuring tools, things like that. So,
Nice.
the Queen welcomes you to her council. Do any of you have any questions before we continue?
Do we know where his phylactery is?
So, Archwizard Layton steps forward, shaking his head. Unfortunately, most liches have nothing but time on their hands, and they spend a great deal of it securing the location of their phylacteries. There is no telling where Matthias's may be. He's had nearly a century to transcend into unlife, and thence to conceal his phylactery. It could be almost anywhere in the world. And, wherever it may be, it is likely protected by many layers of powerful magics, as well as more mundane traps, conjured guardians, magical constructs, curses of every sort.
What do we
We
know
can
about?
only- Go ahead.
What do we know about him? Was he a local boy, or was he from somewhere else?
Matthias is a member of the Findlay family. He and his people have been locals to Savaria for time out of mind. He went to school here at the academy, and that is how he achieved the title of Archwizard. His vengeance also seems directed at Savaria, for this is where his life's work was performed, and it was our queen who banished him when he delved too greedily and too deep into the arcane.
So we need to check out the academy.
Did he maybe have a lab or a workshop somewhere that he may have been performing all of this at?
The Queen looks over at Baron Findlay, who nods. Aye. When my great-grandfather was banished, he was sent to a tower at the edge of our ancestral lands.
Yes.
He lived there for the rest of his days, until perhaps 15, 20 years later, there was an accident of some sort. All at once, the tower was consumed in a vast arcane explosion. The light was visible for miles. I'm told that my grandfather sent his most trusted scouts and guardsmen out to survey the place afterwards, trying to find out what had happened. But there were only smoking ruins. There was no sign of Matthias anywhere. That was the last anyone saw of him, and until yesterday we presumed him dead. Figured that he'd blown himself up, trying to continue his evil experiments. Now, well, obviously, that isn't what happened. Where he's been in the meantime, I can't say for sure. But that may be where I would begin looking for clues, although I cannot tell you what you might hope to find. However, I can show you the way.
That was lovely. I don't think locking up an evil wizard in a tower with time is a good idea for later on down the road.
I feel like that's half of our history books.
Yes, yes.
It's kind of what keeps us in work.
Ah, no, indeed.
The magic industrial complex is really a complex thing. Am I right?
Yeah.
Ladies, lock up your wizards.
Well, Archwizard Layton says, Matthias was not always the man he is today.
Not really a man
If
anymore.
you
is
could
he?
still call him a man. There was a time when he performed great services in the name of Savaria. And it was perhaps his desire to serve that even led him down this dark path he follows now. That is why Queen Ava banished him, rather than having him executed. She stayed her hand in light of the good he had done before he fell to darkness.
What exactly got him banished, anyways?
Savaria has been at peace for many decades, says the Queen. But in Queen Ava's time, there was a war. Matthias was Archwizard then, and when the goblin hordes descended from the mountains, riding their great wolves, and bringing ogres and giants with them, our army was not prepared. Our country is a peaceful one. Our fortifications are few. And our common folk are mostly farmers, artisans. There is no militia. They depend upon the royal guard to defend them in times of need.
Oh, like
Our
France.
forces were spread thin. And so, something had to be done. While Ava herself led the defense on the front lines, Matthias delved into his books and into the libraries here in Sofar at Dathia Academy, searching for spells or lost artifacts which might turn the tide. When his greatest magics proved unable to stop the assault, he made sacrifices, chose to give up his humanity, his common sense, his good judgment, even his pride, in exchange for dark power sufficient to sweep the goblins from the field. It came at great cost. Those who witnessed his power that day were traumatized and suffered from nightmares the rest of their days, including the Queen. Considering what he had done, even though he claimed it was in the best interest of Savaria, Ava could not in good conscience allow him to remain in such a high office amid the counselors of the kingdom. She had to do something, take some action. Matthias, of course, felt that the punishment was unjustified, for he had saved Savaria, single-handedly even. He became twisted and bitter, swore his vengeance upon Ava and my family, upon Savaria as a whole for rejecting him as their savior. He had given much to earn that title, but the cost was too great, and among those things that he paid, I believe, was his sanity.
All right. Well, I guess our first step needs to be check out that tower.
Yep.
What do you mean, check out the tower? There's nothing left.
There's a room to the tower. There could be evidence.
So you're suggesting that there may be something underneath? Maybe the tower goes a little deeper than we suspected?
Towers usually go up.
Unless they go down.
Basement tower.
Then it's not really a tower, it's a dungeon.
Tower dungeon.
Remember the time we got thrown in the dungeon?
Yes, how could I forget? Sometimes I just don't know about this pile of rubbish named Clink.
I'm standing right here.
You know, you're always standing right there.
Just laying there that one time you stepped on me.
Well, if we had a better lead, I promise we would share it, says Archwizard Layton. I have been examining Matthias's equipment. When he was destroyed yesterday, of course, all the weapons that he brought with him to attack Sovar were left behind with the destruction of his physical form. I hope that my magic may reveal some clue as to the location of the object's owner. Perhaps the place where it was created, or wherever it's been kept for such a long time, while Matthias plotted his revenge in the dark.
Well, maybe
For now, however, I can tell you no more than we already have.
Maybe before going to the tower, we should check those out first.
Sounds like a good idea.
Layton says, I am preparing the spells that will hopefully reveal more information. But at the moment, I must choose between divinatory magics and spells of protection, which will ward off Matthias should he reappear.
I want to roll an insight to see if he's the bad guy.
Damn. He's there.
I mean, you can roll whatever dice you like.
I roll a 7. I don't tell anything. He seems like a really stand-up kind of guy.
Yeah, to the best of your ability to tell, he seems to be on the up and up.
Maybe it's the other way. He's good, but you're very suspicious he's bad.
You know what? That's true.
Good. But so Layton promises you that he's working on wringing more information from Matthias's gear that was left behind. But for now, this is the only lead that we have to follow up on, because we do not know where Matthias came from. He transported himself magically directly into the throne room. He could have come from anywhere.
Alright.
Again, his phylactery could be concealed almost anywhere in the world.
Yeah, we're familiar with that teleportation magic. Sounds interesting.
Indeed. Well, Clink and company will take up this quest, and we will go first to the tower.
Clink and Company.
Clink and company. It has a nice ring to it.
Who's clinking again?
Who are you?
Oh, who are you and why should I care?
Kick you in the shins.
Bounces off my armor.
I like Cordell and the Traveling All-Stars.
We are very obviously Frank Stein and the Monster Mash.
I don't hate it.
You know what? I really want to throw my name out there, but I kind of like that one.
I suppose deep down we're all monsters somewhere.
Maybe the Monster Mashers?
It's like, it's in parentheses.
Ah,
Like a subtitle.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's Frank Stein. I say we should go over to this tower, see what's up with it.
We're down with it, because you know it's down now.
We're down with it. We're down with it.
as the scholars once said, you have to get up to get down.
Yes, yes.
It is known. All right, well, so this time, Princess Valeria steps forward and says, "We wish you luck, heroes. Go carefully, for even though Matthias's tower may be a ruin, he was a great wizard still when he lived there all those years ago. There's no telling what traps or defenses he may have left behind, should you find anything besides scorched stonework, be cautious. Treat each step with the gravity this situation deserves. And should you find anything, return here immediately. We have called upon a great sage and our kingdom's most skilled artisan to assist with this quest. And she holds one hand out to indicate the people that you do not recognize. And she says, "This is Barnaby. He is Savaria's greatest metallurgist and goldsmith in a generation. If you find any complex devices or strange machinery, then perhaps Mr. Barnaby will be able to discover its function, understand its workings. And if you find the phylactery itself, Varys willing, Barnaby may be able to take it apart."
All right.
And
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
I walk up to Barnaby and I say, "So, did you make this phylactery, Barnaby?"
Got him. Kill him.
12 inside. Did he make it?
Barnaby seems more shocked by the question than anything else, and he kind of blinks at you before he answers. He was in the middle of a bow, and you sort of catch him off guard, and his brows knit together, and he says, "Nay, good sir.
Take the horse.
I know little of such arcane devices as these, though I shall bring all my skill to bear in dismantling it should you retrieve it. But Matthias was Archwizard 2 generations before my birth, at least. You'll forgive me if I am less than familiar with the worst of his work, especially that of the current era."
I'm just saying, Barnaby, you're supposed to be the best in the kingdom. It's an honest question. I expect an honest answer. I respect that.
Well, Barnaby gives you a nod and says, "Fair enough, good sir. We must explore all avenues of inquiry in our quest to save the kingdom."
I like you, Barnes. Can I call you Barnes, by the way?
All my friends do.
Oh, good, good.
Is there a noble?
What now?
Is there a noble to go with him? Barnes and noble.
Maybe he is a noble.
There are multiple nobles, so it's Barnes and Nobles,
He's the Barnes noble.
plural.
The noblest barn.
I'll call you Abby.
Abby.
Barn Abbey.
Barnaby says, "You may call me as you like, as long as you do not call me late for dinner." And Princess Valeria indicates the woman in the gray dress beside Barnaby and says, "And here we have Astrid, a sage of great renown. She is unmatched in her knowledge of dead languages, ciphers, and writing in general, magical or otherwise.
She has the
And
Rosetta
graciously came from beyond our realm's borders to assist with this mission. Lichdom is a state not casually obtained. If there are clues to be found in the libraries or institutions of this land, Astrid will likely be the one to find them. She will be searching through the Academy's books and records, while you are searching in Matthias's lair." And Astrid she has her hands like steepled in front of her, like fingertips sort of pressed together. And she looks all of you over like, not that she's not impressed, that's the wrong way to describe it, but more like she feels comfortable in this setting, as strange and tense as the atmosphere is. Like, this is just normal for her. This is a Tuesday for Astrid. And she says, "You'll find any strange book, any scroll you cannot read, bring to Astrid. I decipher for you. This villain, cannot hide for long.
Hey, that's good and all, but we're getting paid differently, aren't we? Because the way you were talking about it, it seemed like we were doing equal work. And it's not because you're a woman or anything. It's just that, you're reading and we're going into a lich basement. You know what, never mind. I'll ask the queen later.
Aster just kind of arches an eyebrow and looks you up and down and doesn't say anything.
I'll just nod and head to the exit.
Drab kind of rubs his temples and said, I thought I was going to be that guy this game.
The queen raises her hands and says, "Fear not. Should you help us in defeating Matthias, you shall be richly rewarded. But my concern is neither for gold nor jewels, but for the safety of our people. If there is anything that we can do to assist you along the way, whether that is to provide funding, to grant you healing by Varys' grace, or anything else, any service or resource which may stop Matthias, do not hesitate to ask."
Well, thank you kindly, but I think we'd like to get on the roads, get to looking. We only got a limited amount of time.
Onward, Clinking Company.
We already shot that down.
We're the Monster Mash.
We got a long way to go and a short time to get there. We got to do what they say can't be done.
This is going to be a long journey.
All right. So Queen Rosetta motions to Archwizard Leighton, who makes a gesture, and from the air itself, he plucks a strange gemstone. And it's like a fist-sized chunk of quartz that's etched with glowing runes. And he hands it over, kind of motioning towards you, and it like levitates over towards your group for one of you to take it. It says, "This is a sending stone. Use it to contact us when you have news of Matthias or his phylactery."
I'm going to smack Clink's hands and take it.
Clink wasn't even near it.
He's next to me.
I like that Leighton sounds
Clink's
like
not even
we're
reaching for you to
from
smack his hands anyway. All right, well then go ahead and add that to your character sheet. You have a sending stone.
to contact Liberty.
As we're walking away, we'll look over to whoever's next to me, like, see, this is what I'm talking about with that magic industrial complex. Pulling gems out of the air, disrupting the economy.
Don't worry, these are ecologically sourced magical gemstones.
I like my
They're
bloodstones.
free trade, cruelty-free, non-GMO sending stones.
If my sons have a little bit of blood on them, I don't want them.
Just artisanal. And then once you've taken the sending stone, the Archwizard makes another gesture, and once again, from nothingness, he plucks an ornate helmet. It is made from burnished steel and chased with gold. And upon the brow of the helmet, there are several gemstones, sapphires and rubies.
I will take the fancy hat.
Yep. He hands it over to you and says, "This is a helm of teleportation.
Oh,
With it, you will be able to travel to and fro across Sovaria at a whim. But beware, you may only use it 3 times each dawn. We give it to you now so that you may transport yourself, along with Baron Finley, to the site of Matthias's ruined hermitage. The Baron will show you the way from there."
I put it on and transport myself to the kitchen.
Oh, dear God.
Now, you'd best be careful what you say. I might take you seriously.
I made him invisible.
I don't do that. That would be a waste.
Oh my goodness, let's get us a sandwich.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Come on, Clink.
Right. So Findlay steps forward and unslings his longbow. He says, "Let's go, heroes. There's little time to waste."
Let's go.
Oh man, you're coming with us.
He says, "Only so far as the Hermitage, to show you the way. Then I shall be coming directly back here to the capital in order to continue advising the Queen and helping to coordinate the defense. Once you've finished there, whether there's anything to be found or not, use the helmet to return here to Sovar."
I mean, you could probably draw us a map.
Can we hold hands and teleport together?
I was about to say, is this like a hand-holding thing, or do we just have to be in proximity? Is it a thoughts and prayers kind of thing?
I'm going to climb on Dram's shoulder.
No, you all just have to stand close. You don't have to form a circle and sing Kumbaya.
I mean, but we could if we wanted to, right?
You could. It won't necessarily help, but it also won't hinder. So if it makes you feel better, you're more than welcome to do so.
I get nervous teleporting.
I reach over and I hold his hand.
I always have to take a little bit of a Xanax.
Then I realize he's a corpse, and I put my glove on, then hold his hand.
Thank you. I wouldn't want to catch anything.
I mean, you look like you're frail. I don't want to risk you getting sick.
Frail, I'm only... What year is it?
That's a good question.
It's the current year.
2022, the year of our Lord.
It is the current year. It is the year 100 AM, which is after Matthias.
I've been alive for a long time.
So, it was a big deal. That's how they measure time now. Alright, so Baron Finley's coming with you because teleportation magic can be finicky, especially if you don't know where you're going. So taking him along assures that you will not be off target, and that you will be able to transport safely to your destination.
How well do I know the area that we're transporting to?
Well, why don't you roll a nature check for me?
Nature check. Okay, I can do that. Let's see. Skills, nature. 14.
Bills.
14. Alright, so you are somewhat familiar with Findlay Wood, and this is what you know about it, Dram. Now, of course, not everyone is completely local. A little introduction to our characters here. Of course, Elthar and Clink are not really from around here. They've been here for some time, but this is not where they come from. So, you know your way around Savaria, but like you don't know it the way that a local would.
Right.
Frank, much like Matthias, has been out of commission for some time and only recently come back into action.
I was in a box.
So that means that the Savaria that you know is a few years out of date. You know, might be 5, might be 10 years, might be 50 years. Because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the church has sort of had you on cold storage, right? Like you're one of their special sentinels who exists to help combat threats such as Matthias, and you've come out of retirement to help.
They keep me in a box.
Yep.
I get stored with the Old Testaments.
Oh gosh.
So
hospital.
this is a perfect opportunity for each of you to kind of give us a little bit of background on your characters. Tell us just a little bit about who you are and why the Queen has called you here to help with Matthias. Sir Dram, we can start with you.
Well, Sir Dram's actually not from the kingdom. He's actually from a neighboring kingdom called Haybottom. And he is here because he had to leave town pretty quick. And
Haybottom's the name of the whole kingdom, not just like a village.
well, it's the name of the capital of the kingdom. It's actually called the Vale, but
Okay, all right.
and Dram actually came into the service of Princess Valeria, and works as one of her house girls.
All right, so he's fairly high up in like the royal guard kind of thing, because of course Princess Valeria was sort of honorary second in command of the army until her father perished yesterday. Now she's the general of Savaria. So that explains why you would know the area. Now, Frank, tell us a little bit about Frank.
I don't remember much of who I used to be, because I'm a bunch of people. I was sewn together in a graveyard, and then some people found me, and they called my dad a monster and killed him. And then they took me, and they raised me, and they showed me the good life of Varys, and showed me the ways of the church. And then they wouldn't let me go outside because they said I was a bad person for society to see, and they only used me for extreme scenarios, but mostly they just forgot about me. I'd move room to room, it'd go a couple decades, and they'd be like, "Hey, you remember Frank?" And then they'd get me out, and they'd play with me for a day or two, and then I'd usually just end up in a junk drawer till somebody moved me back to the vault. But now I'm here. They pried me out of the box, and they gave me to the queen to help kill this lich. And hopefully this time, this will be the time that I don't go back into the box.
Well, I suppose that we shall see. All right, so Cordell, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I kind of gave up my diplomatic ways a while back after my nation Trudor was annexed into Savaria. And I've been wandering about. When the princess needed me, I decided to come back home and see what I could do to help.
We love a good peaceful annexation. I guess they didn't need too many diplomats after the kingdoms merged.
Well, after I beat their diplomat to death who tried to negotiate it, they didn't really have much use for me.
Y'all really throwing some curveballs at poor old Savaria here, the kingdom of peace. Lawful good and all that.
It was lawful with my nation.
Are you actually lawful good?
I'm starting to wonder why Sandy got called by the queen. So that leaves Aelthar and Clink.
Okay. So I'm talking to the queen right now, or
No, you're just introducing
No,
your
just
character.
explaining to our audience. Introduce yourself.
okay. So Elthar is. I came from outer space. I was actually in an intergalactic battle with Mind Flayers, and just so happened to be on one of the ships as it crash landed on this particular planet. Along the way, I've lost my relic, which is a star shard, to interdimensional travel. So I'm basically stranded, and I just so happened to step over this little robot guy and woke him up, and he's been attached to my leg, and just it's been tough. But the long
Gives
story
Clink a
short,
long look. It's been rough.
so
I see. Well, Clink, what do you have to say about that?
Well, now the other side of the story. I'm on this. I have a destiny of some sort. I was built by some divine beings out there in the wild space, and they just kind of said, "Hey, you have a destiny," and kicked me out the door. And I've just been roaming around ever since. And then all of a sudden, Istis came to me and told me to look into the Mind Flayers. So I boarded a ship because I saw some elves. They looked nice. They were boarding the ship, and then they all started fighting. The ship crashed. I was asleep, I think, and then the clumsy elf man tripped over me and kicked me and kind of reset me, I guess.
I don't know why you keep calling me clumsy. I mean, the ship crashed. I was a little disoriented.
Your big size million elven foot stepped on my head.
Well, at least I wasn't asleep the whole time.
It was warm, it was comfortable, I couldn't help it.
Is this like a Zim and Gur kind of relationship?
I'm getting that sensation.
But essentially...
But that's all right, as long as it's functional and it's pointed in the right direction, that still gets stuff done.
And the queen called us because we're the best at what we do. What do you do again?
All right. Well,
Like, just no, Queen. No, we're not going through this again.
so with that out of the way, united by your common goal, you take the helmets and transport yourselves to the edge of Findley Wood. Now, make sure, Sir Dram, that you go ahead and put that Helm of Teleportation in your inventory, and you need to mark off a charge because you have already teleported once today. Never know when that could be important. And per your nature roll, this is what you know about Findley Wood. It is an expansive area of forest. It's quite a dense forest. A lot of it is virgin growth. And because of that, it is very popular for hunting. It's rich with deer and elk, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And part of what the Findley family does is sort of patrol the area and just make sure that people aren't taking too much. There is some logging done, but they try to keep it sustainable along one edge of the forest. So they make sure that they don't cull healthy trees and that sort of thing. And they also police the area around the Hermitage, which lies just beyond Savaria's borders in the wilderness, and make sure that nobody stumbles in that direction and gets hurt. And you see why as soon as you arrive. And Elthar, you're a druid. You do not need to make any kind of dice roll or check to sense immediately that there is something unnatural about this area. You are standing under the green boughs of the forest canopy, and you can hear the distant sounds of wildlife like squirrels and insects and birds chirping and things like that. Everything is mostly as it should be. Behind you, but ahead of you, everything fades to silence. The wood is unnaturally still. You don't even feel a breeze coming from that direction. There's no rustling of leaves. And just a few yards ahead, you can see tendrils of greasy mist clinging to everything about ankle deep, winding its way back through the trees.
Elthar,
Now, Dram, you know that this area is to be avoided. There are all kinds of stories that have grown up over the last few decades, and you didn't know they were tied to Matthias until now, but you have heard some of the stories, and people talk about a place in the woods that's haunted, a dark section of the forest that nobody goes, a place that even the animals avoid. So, this must be it.
I relay that to the rest of the group in the spookiest voice I have.
Well, aren't you two just doom and gloom? You're standing there, look all green in the face, and you're telling us all these horror stories. Is that the way we need to go?
Baron Findley nods grimly and says, I regret to inform you, many of the stories you may have heard are true. That's why we keep people away from this area. The entire region seems to be cursed.
Thanks, Muscles.
I'm not sure exactly what happened or why, but it began not long after Matthias's tower exploded. It was as though some foul corruption began to leak from the Hermitage itself and poison the land around it. In recent years, it hasn't grown much. It seems to be stable. But for nearly a mile out in every direction, It is, well, you'll see for yourself as you venture in.
Well, thanks for that. You could have put 2 and 2 together a while back and maybe saved yourselves, but anyhow. We're going for it, guys? I'm definitely not going in the front.
Well, nothing but 4 to do it. I guess I'll go first.
I'll take up the rear.
I'll go second.
I'll be in the middle of the marriage.
All right. Well, Baron Findlay wishes you well, and he raises his hand in farewell, watching you until you can no longer see him amid the green shadows of the woodland.
You know, Clink, I'm starting to think these people aren't too smart.
They definitely aren't, thinking about everything going on, are they?
The defense captain is probably the worst defense captain from what I understand.
No, anyhow. How y'all seeing up there? Pretty good?
Foggy.
Yes.
Oh, you don't have dark vision,
No.
Does
So-
anybody in the group have dark vision? So maybe the druid ought to go first.
Put the squishy in the front.
I can cast light.
Oh, that works too. Yeah.
Actually, I don't think
Give me something to cast light on.
do you? You don't have it?
I hold up a stick.
I got a candle.
It'd be on like the main page.
All right. He casts light on a stick. That way we have a torch.
All right. Well, it's a good thing that you do, because even though it is fairly early in the morning, the sky seems dim, almost as though it's overcast, and it grows only darker as you forge ahead into the woods.
Is Clink singing the doom song?
That unwholesome fog clings to everything, and there is a chill in the air that you know is not seasonal. The further in you go, the more that the plant life around you becomes thorny. Abnormally thorny, like really long thorns. And it's twisted and tangled with briar vines growing up around dead trees that claw at the sky like skeletal hands.
Everybody walking behind me, you can just see like a trail of flesh getting caught on the thorns.
Oh God.
Frank, I think you're leaving parts of yourself along the way. Isn't that a breadcrumb trail or something?
I've been trying to slim down for the summer anyhow.
Oh, okay. Well, you're doing a good job at that.
I pick up a piece of the skin like a piece of lunch meat, and I'm like, hey, do you want this back? And start waving it.
Save it for later. We might get hungry.
Oh my God, he's touching it.
We're gonna have to burn this field so we don't leave any evidence we were here.
It's good. It's mostly jerky by now anyhow.
I love jerky. What kind is it?
I'd say it's teriyaki flavored.
Teriyaki? Oh my God. This is delicious.
Wait, did you eat that?
Yeah. Man had free jerky. He was just handing it out. Why wouldn't I eat it?
The sweat and dirt really.
It's a great
Are you going
seasoning.
to
It's a mommy kind of flavor.
Yeah, well, if I could throw up right now, I would.
Are you telling me the Caribbean jerked this beef? All right. So it takes a little while, like, maybe half an hour or so to kind of forge through, because the ankle-deep mist that sticks to everything, it almost seems to follow you. And as you move, it swirls around and tendrils rise up almost like they're trying to grab at your legs. And that makes everything here kind of difficult terrain.
All right.
You are, like, it's concealing dips and little pits and roots on the ground. So you find yourselves constantly, like, tripping or grabbing one another to help yourselves keep your balance, because you can't see anything on the ground, whether it's slick leaves or gopher holes.
Do we need to make some constitution saves?
No, you're fine for right now.
Or dex saves?
But it is certainly tiresome. And it means that, if you were to do something like get in a fight here, ooh, that could be bad. Someone could break an ankle really easily.
Be at a bit of a disadvantage.
Maybe a little bit. So, after about half an hour of traveling in, picking the thorns apart with your weapons and moving cautiously, you see it. An enormous open clearing where the ground seems free of any vegetation. You can't quite tell for sure because it's still covered by that mist, but it doesn't look like anything grows here. And at the center, with about 100 feet or so of clear ground around it in every direction, is the stump of a broad stone tower. And it looms over you like a broken off finger bone. Its silhouette black against the dim gray sky.
Well, that's not ominous as heck.
The towers grow funny here.
Indeed, they do.
All right.
Weird planet you all have.
I approach the tower, but don't go in.
Thought the tower was supposed to be gone.
Well, I mean, it's not all there.
Yeah, it's definitely a ruin. Like, you can tell that something happened here because you can see sticking up here and there out of the fog are chunks of masonry that have been eroded by water and wind over time. But it's like obviously worked stone blocks, and it looks like they were hurled. Like something threw them away from the center.
All right, then. Who's going to look for traps?
You're the one with the high AC and the glow stick, right?
Yeah, but that's one of those things. I ain't real good at looking around and finding things that might explode. Is there anybody specialized in that?
I'm high on perception.
Pretty good.
I have a 22 passive perception.
Maybe let you check to make sure there's not something that's going to blow up as soon as we go through.
Okay. Do I need to roll perception?
Well, only if you're actively searching. If you are just kind of like, if you're inspecting something specific, you would need to roll perception. But if you're just kind of canvassing the area, you can use your passive perception to see if anything pops up.
Okay.
But what you do need to do, Frank, is roll a d6 for me.
I don't like that.
Determine how many fingers you lose.
All of them.
2.
Okay, lose
2 fingers.
Just take my thumbs.
You'll never eat corn again.
I want to regress. Go back to cat.
Right, what'd you get?
2. Dose.
All right. 2. Well, in that case, Cordell, would you roll a d6 for me as well?
I don't like that.
Just because I ate the man jerky, isn't it? Alright.
Corey.
2.
2.
Yep.
What do you want? Water?
Yep.
2.
You got something good to do?
Well,
Over there. Or actually right here. Or over there. In that cabinet.
Cordell,
Yes.
you see something in the mist at the edge of the clearing.
Now we got to kill our son.
It looks like a silhouette, a figure in the fog, watching you from the edge of the trees.
Are these trees, by any chance, are they slick or anything? Or are they just normal trees?
No, they're not like slick or slimy or anything like that, although some of them have thorns And, like, you don't really need a nature roll to know that these trees are not a species that grows thorns naturally.
If I were
And
to,
most of them don't have any leaves or anything. They look dead, but, like, not rotten. Almost like they've been preserved, like slightly petrified. Like living driftwood.
okay, I would like to walk up one of the trees.
All right.
Just to get a higher point of view.
Okay, so you're climbing one of the trees to see better.
Yes, just walking
Okay.
up one of them.
All right. Well, give me an athletics check.
Okay. Would I have to do that where I have those boots?
Where you what?
Where I have those one boots? Would I have to do that?
Say again.
I got a 6.
Oh, you got a 6.
Yes.
Oh. Well. Let's see. In that case, we'll just say you can't really find a good tree to climb. Like, every tree that you look at, it's got briars growing out of the bark in really inopportune places where no matter where you grabbed it or put your foot, you would wind up sticking yourself, probably.
These are not good trees.
No, these are terrible trees. Bad, nasty, evil trees.
Your planet needs better trees.
They're awful. You hate them.
That's the second time you said that. Are you from somewhere else? Are you one of them aliens?
Not at all.
Gotcha. Okay.
Next town over.
By the
And
way,
the literal robot just looks at you. No,
I thought he was a small warforge.
I'm from here.
Oh no.
All right. So Cordell, are you mentioning what you see to anybody else, or did you just go try looking for a tree to climb?
No, that was me to look for a tree to climb.
Okay. All right. Then.
Fellas, I see something over there. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm going to get my axe and run at it.
Hold on. Let's be tactful about this.
2 axes?
No, I mean, you get your axe and get the hammer and we'll both run at it.
Okay, yeah, get the hammer.
But you gotta tell me where it's at first.
Over there.
I look over where he points at. Do I see it?
Dran, you don't see anything.
Hey, bud, if you've been drinking again, I mean, there ain't nothing over there.
I grab him by the collar. Of course I've been drinking. Been drinking since noon. It's my day off. I start drinking at noon.
And Cordell, when you look back that way to confirm, you also don't see anything. But you do take 4 psychic damage.
Does anybody else have a headache?
Probably from all the drinking.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Pretty sure his flask is full of booze. No water.
I can quit drinking anytime I want. That's
Just
not going to
haven't
be right
found the
now.
time yet.
Yes.
Now, Frank, when you canvass the area, like close to the tower, you don't really find anything that sticks out at you as unusual, or at least not more unusual than your surroundings already are. For example, you don't find a snare or a pit trap or anything like that.
Don't see nothing funny.
The area seems to be strangely flat and clean beneath the fog, except for those scattered chunks of masonry. It's almost like something just blasted this whole area, and the vegetation just never grew back.
Could I do an Arcana check on the trees?
All right. Go ahead and roll.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Well, you can tell that the trees have been affected by some kind of magic. You're not exactly sure what the specific effect was, but when you brush your hand across their bark, you feel a strange, cold, tingling sensation that you recognize as associated with necromancy.
Yes, these trees are, they're like you, Frank. They're undead trees, basically. They've been affected by whatever funk you have going on.
And while you're doing that, why don't you roll me a d6?
Four.
4? Alright, well, so, Frank, would you roll me a d6?
Yeah. Rolled a 6.
Okay. Oh, that's it. Nothing happens. That was all.
Hey, Frank, why don't you use your muscles and try to move some
Why
of
don't
those?
you?
Points at small robot arms.
I don't think my muscles could help me here.
I go ahead and go on into the ruin.
My muscle atrophied 2,000 years ago.
Ah.
No one has been alive that long. All right, so Dram, you head on into the broken stump of the tower, and the first thing that you notice is that the stones here they're damp and kind of slick with this fog, but it's less like moisture and almost more like oil. And all around, the interior of the masonry is blasted just completely black. It looks like a charcoal factory exploded in here. Like something really scorched this place. And it must have been big because, like, you know, stone buildings are something you recognize. Even if you're not a mason, you know how they work, right? Like, they make this weird glue out of dirt, and then they stack stones on top of each other, and it becomes a wall, and it's this whole thing, and, like, you know, it's a house, right? Well, here,
Glue out of horses.
the stones in most places are one smooth piece. And you can see where it was masonry at some previous point, and it looks like the stones got so hot that they fused and ran.
Oh my.
Alright. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to see if there's a place where the stones did not fuse. And one of those places, I want to see if there's some kind of trigger that might open something. It was magic.
Well,
it shouldn't have been destroyed.
The wall of the tower it's not a thin wall because this was the base of a structure. And obviously it was sturdy enough that it survived whatever destroyed the rest of the tower's upper floors. But it is too narrow to conceal a room. So, like, there's not going to be any secret doors in these walls that go to anything other than the outside. But
Okay.
what you do find is there is a hole in the floor. And this is a hole in the masonry floor that has a squarish opening. It's been eroded with time, but you can see that it was a square at some point. So this opening looks made. It doesn't look like a natural opening. And there's no grate on it, there's no doors covering it or anything like that. It is just a square hole with a stone rim around it.
I dropped the stick with the white skull on it, down into it.
Alright, well, it tumbles down just a few feet, maybe 10, 12 feet, something like that. It's about twice as deep as you are tall, give or take.
Gotcha.
And there is a small splash at the bottom as the stick lands and starts bobbing and floating in a layer of dark water.
Hey
And
guys,
it looks like that there is a room of some kind down there because the splash echoes back up to you.
I think I found a room.
Is that just me or is the tower talking?
It's settling.
No, okay.
A dispute. Here,
Oh, yes.
let's go down. You first. Glow stick.
All right, I take my rope and I find something to secure it to. That way I can pull myself back up if I need to.
All right, I think that that's doable because the masonry is still sturdy enough, and there's bits of it sticking up and broken off that you could loop your rope around it.
All right.
So that's no problem.
Then I lower myself down.
All right, well, Sir Dram, as you head down, the light from the stick is, kind of unsteady because it's still kind of floating around in the water. But there's no current or anything, so it's just bobbing from its own movement, kind of slowly spinning in place. And you see the light reflected from the water up on the walls in that way that light does whenever it's bouncing off of the surface of water. And the room is not large. It's probably about 15, maybe 20 feet on a side and square. And it looks like it was some kind of cellar, because you can see shelves made from stone, like carved into the masonry walls or built into the masonry walls. But anything that they held looks like it long ago gave up the ghost to mildew and mold and things like that. And the walls themselves are thick with that kind of like green slime that you sometimes find on the surface of a stagnant pond. And down here, the air feels even more sluggish than it did up on the surface. Almost like the atmosphere itself is trying to choke you from the inside.
It ain't real pleasant down here, but I think it's safe.
Oh, we gotta wait at least 10 minutes. He's our canary.
No.
If he falls down into the water, then we know that there's some sort of gas there. It's all right, man. Just wait down there. We're coming down. Just any minute now.
Insight.
No, we'll be down there just 1 second. We're just all right, guys. Let's just. Do you feel weary? Blurred vision, or?
It's a 9. You can probably tell me whatever you want to.
So
And no, there's nothing like that, Sir Dram.
before
It is unpleasant down here, but like it doesn't feel poisonous. It just feels gross.
I could have moved.
before we all start to venture down in there, I would like to grab my spell focus out of my pocket here and start chanting, and as I do, some gears and stuff kind of appear behind me, and I set a alarm on the back wall of this stump of a tower.
Tell you what, this might actually be a good time to take a break. And then,
Or if you guys need one, I think that this is the perfect moment for a little pause.
all right. Guys, we'll be
All right,
right
so-
back.
Oh, go ahead.
We'll be right back. Go home. All right, Morgan.
Okay, we are back. And we're good to go. Thomas is eating some chippies.
I don't think you know what a countdown is, Kevin.
I didn't necessarily say I was going to do a countdown. Pat's the one that said like it was like he's going to do the countdown.
Hi, welcome back to Extra Life. We are.
We don't know how to do math.
No, we don't, because this is D&D, a game where you need no math whatsoever.
Don't let them quote you on that, kids. Like, your math teacher will not be happy. I assume your math teachers also play D&D, because math teachers
Well, what
are
else are you
nerds.
going to do with that degree, honestly?
Right.
It's a good time to talk about donations, Pat.
So this is a good time to talk about donations.
Pat.
Now, right now we are raising money for the Children's Miracle Network. And, you know, it's not something that you need to make gigantic donations for. I mean, do you have like $20 laying around the house? I mean, seriously.
Do you have
What
$1
do you-
laying around the house?
What are you going to do with $20 nowadays? I mean, you can't even feed 2 people at like Dairy Queen for that.
You can't feed one person Dairy Queen for that.
So why don't you take that money and do some good with it? You know, make sure that these kids are able to get adequate health care. We, of course, are playing for the the UK Medical Centers.
Lexington Hospital.
There we go. Yeah,
Lexington Children's Network.
there we go.
The UK Children's Hospital in Lexington. That's the one right there.
Man, it would be better if we had this scripted, but we're playing on the fly. But go ahead and give us a donation, and we'll try to make sure it goes to a good cause.
You just have to follow the link attached. That's tax deductible.
All right. We did this last year, and our the money that us and other teams from around Kentucky did actually went to like an interactive wall for the kids that are basically stuck there. I mean, gives them something to do, something to, you know, hey, I don't have to just sit in bed all day. I have this that I can go play with. Basically think of it as a giant iPad. But yeah, it goes for a good cause. Definitely worth the donation.
When COVID hit, and they probably don't use that room anymore.
This was after COVID.
Was it after? It was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What are they thinking? Oh no.
But anyway, so we were in the room where it happened.
We are in some wet,
And
around some slimy.
I had set a alarm, so if anything comes near the entrance of this place, then we will know.
There you go. All right. Well, so with that in mind, Dram, I believe you were still hanging from a rope.
Oh, I had lowered myself to the ground. Is there actually a floor down there?
Okay. Yes, there is. The water is only about ankle deep, actually.
Now, when I put my foot down in it, does it start to burn?
No. It does, however, look kind of like oily and nasty. This is really stagnant water, and you can smell the brackishness of it. Elthar especially, gets that, ooh, this is not good, fresh, potable water.
And he dies from the sight of it.
How's the water quality?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't drink it, but I won't stop you from doing it.
I don't need to drink.
Hey, I got a favor. Somebody get some of that substance that's on the wall up there and see if it burns. Maybe get a little bit away from where I'm at before you try it.
I have too many open wounds.
Yeah, you left some Frank jerky all through the forest. So, you know what? If something is tracking us, it'll have a very easy job doing it.
Oh, that's why I left it. Breadcrumbs.
Hey guys, like I said, I'm just kind of afraid that I'm just like hanging out here in a time bomb. So maybe test that out for me.
Oh, if the substance is flammable?
Oh, you're still awake? Alright, well, best come down. I'll start heading down the road.
I'll light a candle and drop it down. See if it's fine.
Oh, no!
I'll go down too. I'll jump with it.
And that's how the game ended.
I'm gonna do it.
Don't do it.
I want to do it.
I'm gonna touch the slime. Like I just won an award on Nickelodeon.
Gracious. Well, so the slime just appears to be some kind of mold. Like I said before, it looks exactly like the kind of green slime that you get on top of a stagnant pond,
Good
like
thing I don't
slime
breathe.
mold or algae, you know. And it doesn't seem to have any other special properties. It's really slick, so without your rope, it would be very hard to climb back up out of this room. But of course, since you secured your rope to the masonry outside, that's not really a concern.
Just slimy. Gross.
It is slimy. It is the slimiest of slimes.
All right, well, it's ankle deep, so I think we're okay down here.
The gnome, you might have some trouble, but that was a short joke.
It went over my head.
Wow, that was quick. Nice.
All right, so I pick up the light stick and start moving around the room to see what else is there.
Well, the room, again, just seems fairly square. There are shelves built into the masonry walls, but whatever was on them has long ago collapsed into just like piles of rot. So you can't even tell whether it was like foodstuffs or if it was some kind of supplies like, you know, like rope or spare boards, that kind of thing. It's just piles of black filth piled up here and there on the shelves. There doesn't seem to be anything else of real interest down here that jumps out at you. The light does not glint off of anything other than the water on the floor.
Well, it doesn't seem like there's anything too interesting.
Do we know for sure that the water is water?
Well, that's why I was asking you to test that up there to see if it was like, I don't know, oil, diesel, kerosene.
All the above.
But you can tell from the texture of it that it's definitely not oil. So the water may have something in it, but it's as far as you can tell, it does just seem to be water. It's just gross water.
Gotcha.
Where like it's come down in here, it's run down the walls and poured in from outside over time and built up and flooded and doesn't really have any way to escape, so it's just gone brackish.
Alright.
Sitting down here in this hole.
Just one more test. I'm going to stomp around on the floor to see if we hear like a trap door or anything.
Oh, good. Do that while we're all down here.
Yeah, right?
I'm going to hold on to the rope.
You go ahead and stomp. I'm just going to hold on to this here rope.
Well, you don't turn anything up by stomping around and splashing in the cellar, Sir Dram.
All right.
You don't hear any hollow sounds echoing back up or anything like that. It seems like a fairly dead end.
All right. I climb back up the rope.
I too will climb back up the rope. Or climb down the rope.
Yep.
I think I'm still. I don't think I actually went down anymore. I threatened to go down there with a candle, but nobody wanted me to do it.
Alright, so what next, gents? The search continues, presumably.
I'm gonna roll an investigation to see if there's any like kind of other like trapdoor types things. 7, so that did not help. I'm just punching the rock in the floor.
Just
Open.
plain splashy splash.
Yep.
I would like to do an Arcana check to see if maybe there's an illusion around here.
Alright, go ahead and give it a roll.
A nat 1.
My gosh.
Let's get these bad rolls out of the way first.
Well, what does a 1 get you?
Total of 5.
Oof. That's, Well, that probably doesn't turn anything up, although someone else could make a similar check.
I'm concentrating very hard.
Althar is also going to do a Arcana check.
Yes, and thank you for taking over Elthar since his player had to leave. Very unfortunate.
All right. And it's a 25 with a crit.
Ooh, a nat 20.
Yep.
Well, our first nat 20 of the game. We love that.
That means it's time for the next donation to be $20.
20 for 20. That's the rule.
For the children.
Well, so, Elthar, searching around the room, you do feel a strange aura here.
What kind of aura is it?
You can't tell, not with just an Arcana check, but you do sense the presence of some kind of magic. It's faint. And in fact, it almost feels... how to describe it? Broken? Malfunctioning? Incomplete? Something like that. It's like you can feel the loose edges of a spell flapping around in the air. And you almost only notice it by its absence up above.
Oh, what's
That
the...
is, it's like an aura that you did not feel up on the surface, and you only detect it like when you come down into this room, because the air feels different here.
Does anybody have Dispel Magic?
I do.
This might be a good time.
Do we know that it's magic?
I mean, there's something there.
Althar, you got that weird look on your face again. Need me to do anything?
Yes.
Are you constipated?
Go under the water and breathe deeply.
I don't have to breathe.
Well, dang.
What's your energy source? Little mechanical man.
I open up my chest and it's a bunch of gears.
What happens if I
But while
put-
you just give me just one moment while y'all discuss it, figure out what you're going to do.
The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull one of the gears out of the what's your character?
Clink.
Clink's chest.
I can cast Dispel Magic. Need
I'm going to wait patiently because I have nothing to help in this
Actually,
situation.
cast Dispel Magic, but whichever one you want to.
So this is going to be Dream. So I ain't real up on this magic stuff. If there was something down there, wouldn't Dispel Magic take it down?
I'm not sure, but we can figure it out.
Well, one of y'all try it and we'll see what happens.
I'm gonna go to wherever he wants me to go and cast Dispel Magic.
Elthar explains where he felt the ragged edge of the magic.
Okay?
And they're going to cast Dispel Magic.
Alright, now, is this
Frank?
Frank
Frank's
casting
good.
Dispel Magic? Alright. Alright, well... You're using a 3rd level spell slot to cast it, right?
Yep.
Or are you going to use a 4th level spell slot?
Well, he says it like that.
I'm just asking so that I know.
Third. Third.
Alright. Then go ahead and roll a check with your spellcasting ability. Since you're a cleric, that would be wisdom. So just make a wisdom check.
18.
All right, that's pretty good. So, Frank, as you cast your spell, and the divine magic flows out across the floor below your hands, a shape is revealed.
What
A
shape?
veil of invisibility peels back before your power, and you see, on the floor below that brackish water, a glowing circle that is lined with various magical glyphs and sigils, and a strange symbol in the middle.
Want to tell everybody about it. Hopefully break their illusion to it as well.
Oh, well, no, you've dispelled the
Oh, okay.
illusion. The invisibility is gone, so everybody can see this. You basically just wiped this magic away.
Hey, look at this. Check this out.
Well, what do we have here?
Seems like a gate, maybe.
Maybe so, maybe like some kind of teleportation circle.
Yep, someone can make an Arcana check to try and identify the diagram.
Not very smart.
I got a 16.
My brain's kind of fermented.
It's pickled, as it were.
I'm constantly
And
drunk.
anyone who wants to can make this check too, so more than one of you can roll if you'd like.
Alright, I'll roll one too, just for the giggles.
And you're going to get like a 50.
58. No.
So I got a, what did I get? 16, 15, 16. He got an 8. I got a 16 and he got an 8.
All right. Well, so between the two of you, you recognize this as a teleportation circle. So this is a static teleportation circle, meaning that if you memorize the sequence of runes around the outside edge, you will be able to transport here from another teleportation circle. It's kind of like a Stargate address. It also will transport you someplace else, because that's what they do. This one ordinarily looks like it would probably just kind of fire off automatically when someone stepped on it. But as you recognize the spell itself, you also can tell that it seems to be malfunctioning. Like the circle is damaged, and so the runes are clear, but the rest of the diagram has been eroded by like water and the passage of time and doesn't seem to be working right. So there's magical energy glowing throughout this circle and all of the symbols, but it kind of pulses and fades, almost like a heartbeat, instead of being steady like it's supposed to.
I'm going to jerk out a pen and parchment and draw the circle and the runes and everything in case we need to come back here.
All right, cool. Make yourself a note that you've got that then.
What's the teleportation rune made out of? Is it just ink or is it chalk, paint?
It's hard to tell because it's glowing, and that along with the water sort of distorts things. But those of you who made your Arcana checks, who rolled the 19?
I got a
Was that Frank?
16. And Kevin got an 8.
Kevin, all right. Well, then, so you know that a teleportation circle is initially inscribed with rare magical chalks and inks that are infused with, like, the dust of precious gemstones. So that's what's on the floor, but also it's like, once the spell takes effect, it transmutes those material components into something else. So now it just is the transportation circle.
So it's not something that we could just fix.
Well, maybe you could, with the right materials. It might be possible to repair it. And also, it's symbol magic. So what that means is that if someone has some kind of power that would allow them to draw a magical diagram or similar, then you might be able to to repair it and kind of bridge the gap using what was already there.
Would a mending spell fix it?
What an interesting question. Probably not. No, because mending generally only fixes like mundane stuff. It won't fix a broken magic item. So it also will not fix a broken magical diagram. No, but good thought. Good try.
Well, I mean, it's a cantrip, so he can cast as many times as he wants to. I'm just saying, if we pump enough, you put enough gravel into a hole, eventually it's going to fill it up.
You're not wrong.
That what you just said is a true statement.
It's also how they fixed the whole roads around here.
Yeah.
You didn't tell a lie.
All right then. That's the only options I got. He doesn't have anything that would do anything more than that.
All right. Well then, you now have maybe a way back here, but now we just need to know where here goes.
Well, you know what we could do? I mean, we might not be able to do it, but the one-armed wizard might be able to.
Ah, yes, the one-armed wizard.
Yeah.
It's meant for Kevin.
Oh.
You're the one who caught it first, though.
That is entirely likely if you're talking about Archwizard Leighton.
Well, I do have the diagram here.
All right. Do we want to poke around this tower a bit more, or do we want to head on back then?
Well, put the diagram in my bag. Well, I believe we've almost uncovered everything from around here. Maybe we should check out those stones outside one more time before we head off.
Let's go look at them stones.
Stones.
Dry stones.
Yes.
No, they're not dry. They're covered in oily stuff. I mean, God, do y'all not pay attention?
We were making a joke.
Oh, gotcha.
Next time, make it funny.
Ah.
All right, I guess we're going to go and investigate the stones that are left behind. Let's hit it.
No, don't hit the
All right,
stones.
so you're talking about like the broken masonry that's out in the clearing beyond the tower.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to do an investigate to see if... I'm not going to do an investigate. Somebody else is. Who has the highest investigate? Because I do not.
Probably me.
Frank, figure this out for us.
19.
All right. Well, then you search around the stones, and why don't you roll me a d6, Frank?
I hate that. 6.
A 6. Well, you don't find anything. The stones appear to just be broken chunks of masonry, and you can tell that they have been damaged by great heat and by impact, and their corners and edges have been eroded by time and by moisture. But otherwise, they don't seem to possess any other special properties.
Nada. There's nothing here.
All right, well,
Can one of you stout fellows maybe bring one of these stones along? How big are they?
I mean, they're giant stone blocks that were used to build a tower, so it's like a 200-pound stone block.
All right, I'll do
We
it.
did need another doorstop around the house.
Let me roll a strength check.
You may not want to bring one of these back, Frank. They might put it on top of your box.
I get really scared. I'm scared. Don't say that. I'm not going back in the box. They told me. I mean, they've said it before, but they really mean it this time.
If I ever get back into space, I'll take you with me.
It seems, I mean, to go from a box to space is quite a jump. I want to see a town.
Lots of towns.
A town where people don't look at me weird.
That's a graveyard.
He starts crying.
Dang, you're just laying it to Frank today. All right. Everybody gather around. We teleporting back.
All right.
Just because I'm dead and my heart doesn't beat doesn't mean it can't break.
Jeez.
All right. So you all are using the Helm of Teleportation to go back to Sovar.
Yep.
I'm going to do it while he's holding on to one of the stones to see if it brings the stone back with us.
Clever.
Well,
I just imagine the bad side effects of this. It's going to come back in, but it's going to be on top of somebody else.
It's going to be in the stomach.
It's like the gelatinous cube, but like we're all on a different side of the stone. It's like the fly.
I mean, you can target an object with the teleportation spell. I'm not sure that you can bring this brick with you. Like, it's not equipment that you're wearing.
Let's all sit on it.
So, probably not.
Okay. Well, we're the important ones to get home.
Yeah, you guys are the ones that matter. Alright, well, so the world shifts around you and runs like paint. And suddenly, you find yourselves back,
In the kitchen.
if that's where you targeted.
That's where I targeted.
Well, are you sure?
Yes.
Then roll a D100.
Oh, God.
Yes.
What did you do?
Yes.
Is the stone with us?
No.
I
The
didn't.
stone is not with you.
Dang.
Oh my god, it rolled a bunch of other dice. Hold on, let me redo that.
It might be set to roll 2d10 or something.
86.
86?
Yep.
Oh.
86 guards. Come on.
You are so lucky. Alright, well, when the world firms back up around you, you find yourselves in what appears to be a large kitchen area, and a maid who is wandering by carrying a tray of crockery just kind of and like drops it and breaks everything as you pop out of nothing.
You're fired. Go home.
Sorry, we just came here for a sandwich.
Well, and like she obviously does not recognize you, so just like a small robot, a zombie, and 3 tall dudes in armor with like obviously adventurer type equipment just stepped out of nothingness in front of her. So she raises like a shaking arm, very obviously terrified,
Break it.
and just kind of like points over to the sideboard.
Alright.
Oh, that's where the cupboard is. Okay.
Alright. I'm gonna use my background as a folk hero and calm her down. She might have heard about me.
I'm going to give her 20 gold and tell her to go home.
You know what? That probably works better than mine.
I mean, you can invoke your background if you'd like. Like I said, she just obviously doesn't know who you are. I mean, you just teleported into the middle of the kitchen out of nowhere.
Now, hold on. Before you get too freaked out, I am Sir Dram. These are my companions. And we're just kind of hungry. Or at least I was.
We're the Monster Mash.
That's what they've taken to call them. It's the Monster Mashers.
Well, when you introduce yourself and she hears your name, she does kind of, like slowly start to calm down. And she takes the edge of her apron and dabs the sweat from her brow. And she says, "Oh, I've heard of you. You came to the Queen called you to. Why are you here?"
Oh, we're coming back. We just need to make a snack stop. Also, my buddy Alethar, he's going to fix those cups, and he's going to use men to fix all the plates that were broken.
Wait, you've heard of me too, though, right?
Yes. I mean, I don't know which is which, but all of you, they mentioned that the Queen called several heroes to help after the terrible things that happened
Is that
yesterday.
an accusation? I don't think any of us are witches. That one fell a little flat. Let's continue.
She kind of watches wide-eyed as Elthar repairs everything.
Now that we've established who we are, how would you feel about making some heroes, some sandwiches?
You could even name
It
it
is-
that. Open up a shop.
A hero sandwich, as it were.
It
But spell it funny.
it
Like
would
G-Y-R-O.
honestly be the least that any of us could do in
It's
exchange
racist.
for your heroism.
What about the hero's feast? Could you make us one of those?
Oh my God, we don't have 1,000 gold.
Yes, you'll forgive me, good sir, but no wizard am I, unlike yourselves. I can offer you a ham, chicken, salad, or bologna.
Ham chicken salad. What kind of food do you serve around here?
It's pieced together like you, Frank.
Listen, look, we're in between meals. You came out of nowhere. This is what I can do.
Can I get all three on one sandwich? Throw a lot of mustard on it.
That's ham chicken salad. That's what you're getting. That's the only thing we
Bring
got.
those right out.
All right.
Okay.
Comes
Bologna,
out of a
please.
tube like a Teletubbies.
Jeez.
All right. So while she is making your sandwiches, presumably you go along to do something useful.
Yeah, I guess we could walk back to the throne room at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, eating a sandwich sounds pretty useful, but I understand.
Just bring him to the throne room.
Here's a good question. Do we know how to get to the throne room from here?
You would have no idea because you've never been in the kitchens before.
Point the throne room out to us, and then come back, make the sandwiches, and bring it to us.
Just maybe draw some map.
How about we ask one of these fine gentlemen as a point at a guard? Excuse me, sir. Could you take us to the throne room? We seem to have gotten lost.
Who the hell are you, and how did you get down here?
I don't talk to cops.
He puffs up on us, I puff up on him, and I say, I'm Sir Dram of the Queen's Guard, Princess's Guard, whatever it is.
Oh, forgive me, sir. I didn't recognize you without your uniform.
It's not a mistake. Now show us the way to the throne room. Chop, chop.
Certainly.
A roll unarmed attack.
I'm sure that the
What?
Queen will wish to speak with you if you've returned so quickly. You must have good news for us.
We have news. I don't know how good it is, but it's news.
It's interesting news, if nothing else.
Yes.
Well,
We found a
that's
rock.
still more than we knew.
I mean, maybe you could have known it.
All right, they lead you back to the throne room, where the Queen is in council with her advisors, and they have, there's like down below the throne, they have a long table set up covered with maps and markers, and there are various scrolls and documents laid out, and all of them have their heads bent over, conferring with one another. And she looks up when you are announced, along with the others, and says, "Oh, you've returned so quickly. We could hardly have hoped. Pray, tell me that you've discovered something of use."
We have. We found out where the kitchen was. And beyond that, we think we found a way that the Malachi ended up getting out of that tower.
You mean Matthias?
Matthias.
Oh, yes, that guy. There's also a Malachi that was there, and we believe he got out too.
So,
We shall perhaps have to mount a second expedition to deal with him another day.
Yea, verily.
Mr. Wizard, sir, I bring you this, and I'll bring up the diagram, and this was in the broken tower, ruined tower.
All right. Well, he takes the drawing from you and looks it over, and immediately says, "Ah, a teleportation circle.
Yes.
Well done. Why,
it's
this
got-
could take you nearly anywhere. It must be a clue as to Matthias's lair."
that one seemed to be kind of misfiring. It was just going off and not starting properly.
Indeed. If your drawing is accurate, then it looks as though the diagram has been damaged here and also here. I can show you how to repair it, but you will need special materials.
Oh, what are those?
So he reaches into an inside pocket in his robes, and he hands you a stick of glowing chalk.
Ooh.
And then he sets your drawing down and takes a pen from an inkwell filled with red ink so that it's a different color from yours, and kind of fills in the holes in your drawing to show you how you need to complete the diagram in order to repair it. Here. Take this chalk, draw it exactly as I have shown you, and the circle should resume full functionality. But beware, for when you step into it, there is no telling precisely where you may come out. Teleportation circles are a dangerous thing to travel through blindly. Please, take the utmost care.
Now, will this one take us to the same place it took him?
A permanent teleportation circle goes to only one destination. So, when you pass through it, it will always take you to the same location. But what may lie on the other end, I cannot say.
I bet this
Or
one
even
doesn't
begin
take us
to
the
guess.
kitchen.
More's the pity. We also have another problem. It's underneath a bunch of water. Is that going to hinder its ability to move? Do we need somebody who has shape water to get that water out for us?
If the circle is underwater, it may prove somewhat more difficult to repair it accurately. But this special chalk should be able to repair the diagram even if you must draw it through the water. It is magic, after all.
Alright then.
Do we put the helmet back on and head back out?
So here's my problems with using the helmet again. If we had randomly teleported to some place that we need to get out of real fast, we need a way to to come back. So it might be that we need to wait until after I've taken a nap or something before we use this helmet again, or go to go try out that teleportation circle.
Has the good Lord that took us out there, has he returned yet?
Nay, for Findley Wood is several days' travel from the capital.
I didn't know we just got teleported out there, so I had no clue how long it would take us. Okay, well then, so several days travel to get back out there.
Indeed, and unfortunately, the helmet will not recover its powers until the next dawn. I'm afraid there is no time to waste.
Okay, well, do you have any new clues for us since,
In the 25 minutes since you left, I
Yes.
regret to say no.
Okay, well then.
Well, if we need to go, then we need to go.
Well,
Yes, Matthias could return potentially at any moment. Hopefully, we have more time than I fear, but with each passing second, his rejuvenation draws closer.
you have a very good point.
Alright, then everybody gather around.
Hold hands.
And then I take us back to the tower, the room in the tower above. That way we can keep a rope. Yeah.
Well, you can use the teleportation circle now that you have a diagram of it. You can actually teleport straight to that circle as a destination for your spell with no chance of a screw up.
Oh, cool. Oh, wait, did we get our sandwiches before we left?
Better.
Yes, they're all wrapped up.
Yes. Okay.
I'm gonna give her 20
Yeah,
gold
nice.
as a thank you.
I don't have to eat.
Excellent.
I'm going to take it back. She's not very thankful.
She's
Right,
doing
so-
the best she can.
Back in the flooded cellar, you find yourself directly on target because even though the circle is damaged, its sigils are still accurate. And so you appear precisely where you intended to. Right on target.
Excellent. All right, Clink. Why don't you get down there with that chalk?
Clink's got the chalk.
Yes.
All right, make an Arcana check to follow the Archwizard's directions correctly.
Remember, you gotta
Since
say
we
the
drew a
words.
diagram, we'll say that you don't have disadvantage, considering that you aren't capable of actually casting the spell.
A dirty 20.
20. Well, lucky for you, that is exactly what you needed. How fortunate. Alright, so you fill in the spaces of the broken diagram with the chalk, which kind of dissolves in your hand as it like melts down almost to join the diagram and repair it. It melts like wax and sort of flows out to become part of the diagram, which then begins to stabilize, and its glow brightens and turns steady, waiting for you to step into the circle.
All right. I say we all step in as all together.
Yep.
I push Clink into it first.
I take a step back to watch to see what happens to Clink.
Well, it is without fanfare that he simply disappears. Just kind of like a smear of paint and just whoosh, gone.
I look around. Do we see any blood or anything that looks like he was disintegrated?
Nope.
Guys, I think it's safe for us to go ahead and go now.
Let's all step in and go into the unknown.
Let's go.
All right.
Ladies first.
We all step in, and as they step in, I take one step back.
You got us.
Lord. I'm going to push you in myself.
And then I go.
Alright, well. And once again, the world turns around you. And you arrive someplace with a splash.
Oh, gosh.
And everyone except for Frank and Clink, you find yourself suddenly choking on filthy water in the dark.
All right.
So give me an athletics check.
It's your time to shine, Cordell. Oh God, nat 1. Rolled a 7 total.
Dram got a 24, and oh my god, he is so bad at this.
What are you rolling?
Athletics.
Yep.
Oh, Outsar rolled an 18.
Is all of us have to roll athletics, or just me and Cordell and whatever the past character's name is? And Althar.
I rolled a 1.
It seems like everybody's
You
fine
actually
but
do.
Cordell.
Okay. And I'm just
So,
face down in the puddle at this point. Of a dead body.
So Cordell,
Hey, watch
give me a
it.
Constitution saving throw. You're good at those. That should be fine.
We'll find out. 11.
That's not too bad. So you flail and struggle and kind of panic when you just pop in underwater somewhere. But after a second, you manage to right yourself and follow the others up to the surface. Now, Clink and Frank, neither of you actually have to breathe, which means that you can't drown. Lucky you. You will, however, still have to make athletics checks in order to swim.
Oh, well. I rolled a 4 -1, so a 3.
Oof.
I rolled a 2 -1 for a 1.
I guess the two of you are just sort of standing at the bottom watching the others. And fortunately, Sir Dram, your makeshift torch from the light spell is still working. And so the three of you who start struggling for air swim upwards on instinct, and you manage to breach into a pocket of stale, rancid air. And this is what you see. You are in some kind of tunnel, and there is just enough room between the ceiling and the top of the water, which is brackish and stagnant and smells awful and tastes worse, Cordell, for you to actually get your head out of the water and grab a breath of the air. But the air isn't much better than the water. It's thin and unwholesome.
I think I preferred the drowning.
Well, let's try to see if we can find something better. Alright, has everybody made it out of the water now?
The three of you who need to breathe, yes, you are treading water with your heads almost bumping the ceiling.
All my decades and millennia, centuries, I never learned how to swim.
I mean, you lived your life inside of a box. It makes sense.
It's true.
I'm going to try to take off swimming again.
One time there was a leak.
6.
So, my character actually doesn't know that they can't breathe, so he's going to dive down and try to save one.
Fair.
Athletics?
Yes.
Yeah, I rolled a 6.
Cordell's up top thinking like, that guy's a zombie down there. What's he trying to do?
21.
Alright, well, you managed to lug Frank then back to the surface at least.
Frank!
He kind of has to hold on to you to tread water, but he doesn't weigh very much. So
Got too many holes in me, I'm sinking.
Frank, don't you die on me!
Patch me up.
Dramby's already dead.
Again!
He's dead and loving it.
What do I see on the bottom of this?
You see, like, fish eating my toes.
Y'all can see the map here, right?
Yeah, but
All right. So you can see. Let me turn my little widgets on. There we are. So y'all can see that you are in a hallway about 10 feet across, and at the bottom of it, there's a dead end with a blank wall and another teleportation circle on the floor. So this is the exit. This is where you came out. And ahead of you, it looks like the hallway branches off to both the left and the right, as well as continuing onwards. But everywhere that you can see is filled up almost to the ceiling with this disgusting greenish water.
Well, ain't no sense staying here. Let's make a swim for it.
I'm just going to walk along the bottom.
I always heard to go to the left because the right way's wrong.
Yep, I'll follow you. Actually, could you attach a rope to your waist and let me kind of just hold on and doggy paddle?
You're just going to do the dead man float and I'll just pull you along?
Alright, that term's actually offensive.
Oh, you know what? I am so sorry about that.
How's it gonna float, man? It's got no air inside of it. You
Can I
gotta think
use some-
these through. Strength.
Can I borrow some from that head of yours?
Here, try some of this water bladder.
Take a breath, and then you can see it expelling from my chest cavity. Different holes. My lungs don't work.
So I'm going to swim up to that hallway going left.
All right.
And I'll walk
you
along
can
the
see,
bottom.
as you approach the intersection, that the hallway is about 10 feet or so before it seems to expand into a room. It's not very long. Up ahead of you to the north, it looks like part of the ceiling has collapsed, and there's a lot of rubble piled up under the water. And it doesn't breach the surface, but there's no way that any of you are squeezing through on top of it. Like, you're just not going to be able to go that way without moving some of the rubble. So you'll have to go to the left or the right.
Go left.
All right.
No, left.
Okay. So, as you head to the left, presuming, are you all staying together?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, because you're going to take your light source with you. There is nothing down here. Like, the only light that there is what you've got with you. So that means that those of you who have dark vision can kind of see, but for the rest of you, you're blind without this water or without this light. So you head up, and you see before you a large room, and it expands off into the darkness past the edge of your torch's illumination. And it looks like there's some kind of hallway or opening to your right, and below you the light catches on a number of objects. It looks like there are tables or shelves of some kind underneath you, and you can see a slab on the other side of the room that has a silhouette on it. A silhouette that looks disturbingly humanoid.
Alright. So, Clink, you're still underwater, right? I'm going to motion Clink towards the slab.
Actually, I have a question. If I'm underwater, can I still use spells?
Well, that's a great question. And the answer is, not if it has a verbal component.
Ah. Well, then I need to come
Because
above
you
the
do
water.
have to be able to speak.
Yes, I need to come above the water then. So I guess I'll try to swim up again. At 8.
Well, you are very bad at it, which makes sense, right? You're a machine. But nothing's attacking you or anything, right? And there's no current. The water here is very still, and the only movement that you can feel is from each other. So that means that you're not really fighting the water to stay afloat. So you're just kind of like thrashing and splashing around, but you are able to make it to the surface.
Right. It's dark down there.
It's dark up here, too.
I see that.
It's deep too.
Yes. So, can you steady me for a second so I can wave my hands around and make stuff appear?
I grab him by the back of the shirt and hold him up.
I'm not wearing a shirt.
Gross.
I'm
Wearing
rebel.
pants either.
I'm not.
Do you have a hat on?
No.
Pick him up at the top of his head.
Okay. So when he does that, I bring out my orb here, and I actually cast Dancing Lights.
All right. And that's a cantrip, of course, so it's at will, but
Yep.
make sure that Helm of Teleportation is properly checked off. Make
Yep.
sure you're keeping those charges.
There's one charge. No, there's no charges left.
That's correct.
And I make these appear and then move forward individually about 10 feet from 10 feet ahead of us.
All right. Well, Let's do. Oh, dear. There we go. All right, so you send your dancing lights out to explore.
Yep.
There you go. And it doesn't really light up very much, but you can see that there is a rear wall. So the room looks like it's about 25 feet square, give or take. And there's an opening to your right that's about 15 feet wide.
Can we make out that humanoid silhouette any better now?
You can send your dancing lights ahead,
Yes.
and there you go. So, yeah, it looks disgusting, frankly. It looks like some sort of mummified person.
Frank,
Or at
it's
least
one of
it
your people.
was, but it is really waterlogged. Like, everything down here has been wet for a while, so it is sodden and black and bloated, and appears to be sort of like strapped to the slab.
Mm.
Need to try and hurry up and get out of here before I start to bloat.
Oh, God.
Frank, why don't you see if that's one of your people?
Haha, very funny.
What's that?
Detect undead. Is it undead in front of me?
What's what?
I use my feature to detect undead. That's not behind total cover. Let me pull up the specifics here real quick. It's Eyes of the Grave. As an action, you know the location of any undead within 60 feet of you that isn't behind total cover and that isn't protected from divination magic.
All right. Well, so you do not detect any undead creatures.
I don't feel any undead. Not one of me.
No, one of you. Okay. One of you big strong fellows, why don't you go poke it with a stick?
Hold on. First, to the south of us, there it looks like there's some floating debris. What's that?
Yeah, it looks like there's some broken, kind of like really old slimy wood, and you can't tell what it was. Might have been pieces of a crate or a chest. Could have been shelves. Largely disintegrated, and it's just kind of floating on the water, just disturbed a little bit by your presence.
I'll go check it out.
All right. Well, so again, yeah, it doesn't seem to be anything exciting.
Oh.
You can see when you use the light to look down below you, it looks like there's broken glass everywhere, and pieces of broken, like, crockery or pottery, some kind of containers that have been smashed or that have, broken down over time. Nothing here looks really interesting in this pile of floating debris. It just looks like, flotsam.
Gotcha.
Like something has come apart, and because it's wood, it floated to the top and is still there.
All right. Swim back over to where everybody else was and say, "Nah, guys, ain't nothing over there."
Well, that's a relief.
So go poke the mummified thing over there with a stick.
Well, why don't you go poke them? You sink.
I do sink, but if I sink, there's not much I can do to help you.
You strap down. You're fine.
Or here, I'll ride on your shoulders and then you go poke him with a stick. And then if it goes oogity boogity boo, then I'll shoot it with something.
How about this?
Probably going to be pretty hard to tread water with, like, 100-pound machine on your back.
Right. I'll go over there. I'll poke you with my fist.
No, that's okay. I mean, it's not a terrible idea, but you know what? Go ahead.
All right,
I'm just gonna take a step back, like you with the gas.
unarmed strike.
All right, so Cordell, you are approaching this the mummified figure.
Yep. 14 on the unarmed strike.
All right. Well, so as you draw closer, you feel a pretty nasty chill in the water. Like, the water down here is cold anyway, but it gets, like, ice cold as you start to swim in that direction. Like, skin-prickling hypothermia kind of, like, it's like you don't know how the water's not frozen. It's that cold.
Want to pee in the water to warm it up?
There's a little. I can see
that's
that.
probably
There's a
not
blue
what
halo
you want.
around you now.
You said that's probably not ideal.
Don't you know that's how you get amoebas up your pee hole?
That's how you get pea goblins.
I certainly don't
Well,
want pee.
why don't you
They crave the
why don't
salt.
you make a wisdom saving throw instead? How about that?
We'll try it.
Roll a whiz instead of taking one, right?
Well, that's not any better. That's a 3.
You gotta unbutton your pants first, man. You gotta. I mean, I get it. It's beach rules. It's beach rules. But we're not in the ocean.
It's gonna wash out in the water. It's fine.
This is.
Well,
I can't imagine it's gonna smell worse than what it's already gonna smell with the way the water is down here. How stagnant everything has got.
Honestly, if anything, you've made it cleaner.
so the rest of you see Cordell approaching this mummified figure. And then he just sort of stops. And you see him shiver. And then he just floats there, not doing anything.
Cordell, you okay, bud?
I don't know.
He does not answer you.
Cordell, he stopped peeing.
You, maybe someone should go check him out.
Nose goes.
Oh, gee, thanks, guys. So, I'm going to try to swim over here. Actually, I'm going to get back about 10 feet from him and send my lights, like, near him. See if there's anything I can see. Cordell? You doing okay?
Well,
I don't know if I'm allowed to answer. I assume I'm
and
not.
when you approach, Cordell turns around in the water, and his eyes are completely black.
Cordell's dead, guys.
Oh, jeez. Well, find a new one.
And, he tries to punch you. He starts thrashing through the water and dives at you in an attempt to attack.
Oh.
And, oh, goodness gracious. Wow, that's going to be that's not a good way to start that out. That's going to be a critical hit. So that's going to be 8 damage.
I'm actually going to do something. I'm going to change some
That's
stuff
gonna
up.
be 8 damage, and the rest of you should all probably roll initiative.
I'm actually going to use Sentinel at Death's Door. As a reaction, when you or a creature you see within 30 feet suffers a critical hit, you turn that hit into a normal hit. Any effects triggered by a critical hit are cancelled.
Oh, okay, well then. Well done. Then in that case, you only take 4 damage.
Dang, that's useful as heck.
Yes.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
Okay, Cordell, that's enough playing around now.
Let's put y'all on the board here. There we go. Let me get you kind of in the middle of the space because, there we go. Each one of these squares is a 5-foot square.
Gotcha.
So we will. You were in front. Frank is with you behind, I believe.
Frankfurter.
There we go. You are carrying the light, so. Alright, let's have those initiative rolls.
Alright, Dram got 13. And
Alright.
Althar got like 8.
Okay, and Clink, what did you get?
13.
Alright, and it looks like between the two of you, looks like Clink has the higher dexterity, so that means that Clink will go first.
Heavy fighter.
Oh.
You swing.
And Frank, what did you get?
Got a 20.
A 20?
Yep.
Frank doesn't mess around.
18
Dang.
plus 2.
Alright. So, Cordell, I am going to let you play yourself here, rather than me play for you.
Alright.
So, your initiative is a
15.
22.
Okay, it's 22. Alright.
So that means that you go first. So, you are trying to do your best to kill your companions.
Do you
Good luck,
really want
everybody.
to hurt me?
Alright. I have my great axe out. Or do I have my great axe
Do you really want to make me cry?
out? Alright. Trying to see who's closest to me here.
Me, you just punched me.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to take a swing at old Clink with the great axe. I'm sorry. 25. Does 25 hit?
Oh, yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
That definitely is.
Okay, and 8 damage.
It's not a crit, right?
No. And I'm now raging.
Okay.
A bonus action. And I'm going to attack again. 22.
Alright, I'm going to use protection stance, and I make you roll at disadvantage.
Okay. 24.
Okay.
So 22 is still hits.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, gracious.
And 5 damage. And that ends my turn.
Yeah.
Alright, well, that makes it Frank's turn.
Alright, well, does this seem like a curse? Like, does he feel real curse?
I feel pretty cursed.
Something's definitely going on. Make an Arcana check.
Okay. Uh, 12.
Okay, so you're not sure exactly what's happening, but it doesn't seem like mind control. It seems like from the thing with his eyes and the way that he's just acting so strangely and not even speaking, it's almost like he's been possessed by something.
Possession is a curse. Right?
So sorry.
No,
Clank.
possession is not a curse effect.
Unfortunate.
It is something separate.
Oh, in that case, I'm gonna do a command spell. And that command is to stop. He needs to roll a wisdom saving throw and beat 17.
All right, Cordell, wisdom save.
Okay. $17.
That makes it. Hey,
Of course, the one time that I get these things.
Of course, that's how it always goes.
let me see about a bonus action.
Oh, baby boy.
My boy.
Oh no, my boy.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna do for now.
All right, then it becomes Clink's turn.
All right. How deep is the water?
As deep as my love.
So, it seems like the place has about a 10-foot ceiling, give or take. So the water is about 9 feet deep.
So he's right. Okay. First off, I would like to use one of my sorcery points, to do a quicken spell,
All right.
and I would like to quicken spell Maximilian's Earthen Grasp from the ceiling to grab a hold of Cordell.
All right. Okay. Then, Cordell, you need to make a strength saving throw.
All right. Now I have a question.
Yes.
With my ring of protection, it says I have I get a +1 on saving throws while wearing it.
Uh-huh.
Does that apply to all saving throws, or just like
Yep,
life
that's a
saving
plus.
throws?
No, that's a +1 to all saving throws
Okay.
because it doesn't specify.
Okay.
And since you have it equipped, that means that that's already factored in over here. So.
Okay, just make sure. 8 on the strength saving throw.
Alright, you do not make it. So, the hand reaches for you, and you do not make the saving throw. On a fail save, you take 2d6 bludgeoning damage, and you are restrained.
Okay.
Now, of course, because you kind of get to control your spells, you can choose to not deal damage to him or to deal minimum damage if all you're trying to do is restrain him. It's up to you whether you hurt him or not, or if the hand is just trying to grab him.
I would like to do minimum damage to him.
You do what you gotta do, buddy.
So,
Alright, then you take 2 damage.
does that seem to break the
Curse?
The effect?
Yeah.
No. Cordell is struggling, of course, against the earthen grasp. It's got him. He's restrained as the hand like erupts out of the ceiling and just snatches him. But no, he doesn't seem to change, and it's really eerie. Like, he doesn't really react or make any noise of any kind. He doesn't even break eye contact with you. Like, he's not blinking. He's
Okay.
just thrashing around trying to get out of the hand.
Okay. Well then, so now that he's restrained, I would like to swim back about 10 feet from him, and then I would like to. Cast Eldritch Blast, waving my hand around. These glyphs kind of appear behind me, and I've got 2 beams with it, And I'm going to target the corpse in the back with the both of them.
All right. Now, just in case, Cordell, you are restrained, but you still get an attack of opportunity as a reaction against Clink when he withdraws.
Okay.
But you'll make that attack with disadvantage.
Okay.
And you said you wanted to move back about 10 feet, right, Clink?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. We'll put you there.
So 19 with the great axe.
Gracious. That does hit, I think, unless somebody can do something about it.
I've already used my protection.
Oh, well.
What is it?
Damn, a 19 with disadvantage. That's awful. Roll your damage.
Sorry, buddy.
It's okay.
Well, at least that wasn't at one. 4 damage.
Alright, so Clink, you take 4 damage. Roll your attack roll with your Eldritch Blast. Let's see what you get.
Well, it would... Shoot, I already rolled it. It would be a 15 to hit. Almost.
Now remember, you get to roll separately for each blast.
Okay.
So, the first one does not hit.
24.
Probably because, you got hit with a great axe as
Yep.
you were backing away.
The second one was 24.
That one does hit, so roll your damage.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
5 damage.
Okay.
Not to you. I was hitting the mummy in the
Mummy
background.
Okay.
But I am away from you now.
Alright. So, as your Eldritch Ray slices through the water and strikes that mummified figure, there is a sort of burst of darkness that erupts out of the corpse as it's damaged, almost like ink spreading through the water. And you can see it flowing out in every direction, but most of the tendrils seem pointed kind of at Cordell's, like where he's being restrained by the hand, as if something inside the mummy is trying to get to him. That's going to make it Sir Dram's turn.
Alright. I'm going to use my hammer and do non-lethal damage to Cordell.
Alright, so in 5e, the way that works is there's not really a differentiation between lethal and non-lethal damage. Instead, if you want to, say, knock someone out rather than kill them, then what happens is when you deal the final blow that drops them to 0 hit points, you get to choose whether they're dead or unconscious.
I hold the power of life and death. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, so you can't really deal non-lethal damage, you can just deal damage. And then if that were to knock him out, you could choose for it to knock him out.
Alright, I am going to use Goading Strike. Actually, no, not Goading Strike. It's going to be Disarm Attack. So I'm going to hit him with a Weapon Strike, 21 to hit.
Isn't that what the Lich used on that wizard back in the court?
Kinda, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Alright, that hits.
Alright. So it is. Well, that was weak. 8 plus. This table doesn't like my mouse. 8 plus 5, so 13 damage. And then he needs to
And
roll.
again, you can choose to deal minimum damage, by the way.
No, I gotta do maximum damage. That way I'm making sure that I knock him out.
Well, I mean, that's up to you. So, alright then, 13 damage, Cordell.
And then.
And you need to make a strength saving throw.
I'll do it. I'll save everything. Except myself.
If he's restrained, does he have to do it at disadvantage?
Let's see.
That's a good question.
You have disadvantage on dexterity saving throws when you're restrained, but not on other saving throws.
Okay.
Also, if he's restrained, I should have got
Yeah,
advantage
you
on
get
that thing.
advantage on your attack, but you hit him regardless. So the only thing that would change is if you potentially roll a crit.
Let's see if I crit him.
Okay, it's 15 on the strength saving.
God dang, how do you make all these all the time?
I mean, I just said 15, not 50.
It's not a crit. It's cool.
All right. Well then, so Cordell keeps hold of his great axe.
That's right. That's probably the
That
side my
makes
cold
it
bad
Elfric's
hand.
turn. Unless Dren, do you have a second attack or something that you want to make?
I only had one attack so far. I'm level 8. I should have a second attack, shouldn't I? I
Oh,
do
you
have a
do.
second
That's why
attack.
if you want to make a second one, you can.
Yeah, smack him again. Dirty 20.
That will hit.
7 damage.
And are you going to try and disarm him again?
Nah, I can only use one of those per turn.
Can you? I think here it says that whenever you hit with a weapon attack.
Oh. Well, I only have so many of those. I want to make sure I save them.
So that's valid.
And then, Altar's going to produce flames.
All right. So let's see. Let's get another light over here.
Oh, God. And then he critted. But he hit the mummy.
Well, it is magical fire. So probably that works. We'll say that it works because even though it is fire, like, I don't know. You're throwing it through water, though.
It's like the magic chalk riding underwater. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it.
Does it?
Magic. Hashtag magic. 10 damage to the mummy.
What was your roll to hit?
Crit. 20.
20. Okay. And damage, you said.
Yep, 10 damage.
All right. Well. So, your dart of fire, as it strikes the water, becomes a blast of steam. And you see it kind of cut through the water, and it strikes that mummified figure, which bursts open like a ripe grape. And black corruption oozes out in every direction. And strangely enough, rather than spreading out and staining the water, it starts to evaporate. You see it beginning to disappear, like it thins out and slowly vanishes. And as it does so, the black also drains out of Cordell's eyes, and he falls limp in Clink's earthen grasp spell, in that big hand made of stone. And up from out of the water, you see a thin thread of something bright and silvery blue kind of weaving its way up towards Cordell's body, and it vanishes into him with a soft glow before he blinks and seems to come to his senses.
Buddy, are you haunted?
I stumble around a little, try to get my bearings.
You're still in a hand.
Well, I'm very groggy then. And I was like, which one of y'all hit me?
Who's Clink?
I'm over here trying to get the dents out of myself.
Good man. I have no hard feelings about it.
Cordell, on your end, this has not been a pleasant experience. Because what you felt was when you touched the mummy, there was kind of this sucking sensation, and you just suddenly found yourself
Hey, can I get on it?
looking up at your own body, at your own face. And you couldn't move, and you couldn't feel anything, but you were still aware the entire time. And so you were trapped in that mummified figure, looking up through the water, watching your body attack your companions, until they managed to destroy your prison.
This isn't closing. This isn't closing.
And maybe the Ethernet cable's underneath it.
Oh, I don't know. Are you
So not a pleasant experience.
No, it did not feel good.
I'm sorry about hitting you so many times with my hammer.
Well, it happens.
I thought he was going to kill us.
By us, he means me. He thought you were going to kill me.
If you can't have a little Donnybrook with your pals, what can you do? You know. I never took a punch to the face and took it personally.
Well, okay, as long as you're being a good sport about it.
I'm going to sit over here and cast mending on myself until I heal.
How many points down are you, dude?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down to 59.
What do you need? I can heal. Everybody need healed?
I can heal myself for free.
I could probably use about 26 HP.
So with mending, how long would it take me to heal myself all the way?
So, the way that works is you have the healing machine ability. So each time you cast it, you get to spend one of your hit dice,
Okay.
and you get HP equal to that roll plus 2. So you just have to cast it over and over until you either ran out of hit dice or until you were healed. Now, note, of course, that when you do that each time you cast Mending, it has a casting time of 1 minute, not one action.
Okay.
So like one actual minute or like game minute?
Game minute.
Well, one game minute. Yeah, like we're not going to sit here for 60 seconds each time that you cast it.
10 turns, basically.
One.
Okay. I just want to make
game
sure.
minute.
Yeah. Also, I was just monitoring. We got a $50 donation.
Yep. We are currently up to, last I checked, $180.
Heck yeah.
Wonderful. Love to see it. Thanks for thinking of the children.
Yes. And thank you to everyone who has donated so far. We very much appreciate it, and as do the children.
But speaking of donations, friends, I know that the holidays are coming up and money's tight. I mean, this isn't the greatest time to have to buy something. But I tell you what you can do. You can take, just a little bit of money and make a big difference.
So that tax deductible money.
Tax deductible money. I don't know if any of you itemize your taxes, but if you're not, you're leaving money on the table. This is a good time to start, and the first item that you can put on that is a donation to the Children's Miracle Network.
Through Extra Life.
Through Extra Life.
Through our page.
Through our page. Through a lot of stuff that you have to go through. But at the end of the day, you're going to end up with money on your taxes. In theory. I'm not an accountant.
Love in your heart.
It's like the song goes, put a little love in your heart and money in your pocket. Am I right, guys?
That's right. And, just click on that link that's in the description, or, if you want to type it in, go to the link provided on the graphic below, extralife.org/team/62474.
All right.
And we're gonna be here for a few more hours. We gotta save the kingdom. So stay tuned here, folks.
You have to save the kingdom and get pizza at some point.
Yeah.
Both worthy causes.
What kind of pizza we get?
I'm going to go with hot rods.
Do they deliver?
Alright, so while Clink
know that
is
that's one of
repairing
those.
himself, what are the rest of you up to?
Well, Dram is going to be kind of just floating around. He didn't take any damage, so
We love not taking damage.
right. I don't think there's any situation where this can be counted as a short rest.
Probably not. I think while you have to tread water, I don't know if you can take a short rest while doing that.
You, sir, have never spent some time on like a beach, just floating around, enjoying life, or float tubing down a river.
I don't think he's going for it.
Not in full adventuring gear, no.
Oh. Well, you should. It's very relaxing.
It's even more relaxing when you let the air out of somebody's tube.
Yeah. That's
He had it coming.
that'll show him.
Next time, don't be rude. Don't be rude. You'll have air in your tube. That's a life motto. Works for tires too. If you're driving.
What are tires if not air tubes?
Exactly.
All
There's
right.
tubes that you drive on.
Yep. Now, if you got a flat, I wouldn't recommend putting up a pull inner tube on your rim. That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put some duct tape on it though. You should be fine.
No. No.
Look, if Fred Green told me anything, it's duct tape.
Listen, guys, of all the unsolicited advice we can give, I can tell you that using duct tape to fix a tire is not a great one, so don't do that.
There's probably better
Asterisk, do not actually do these things.
options. Right.
All right, what about the rest of you? What's going on here while Clink is hammering out the dents?
I'm also hammering out the dents, but with whatever's in my flask. That's a different kind of hammering.
Emotional hammering.
Emotional damage. All right.
I haven't actually healed myself yet because I was trying to find what my.
How many hit dice are you going to have to spend to get back to full health there, Clink?
Let's see. I'm down 22 points, so.
Why don't I just hit you both?
Yeah, you can just heal us both.
There we go.
We'll just let Alec heal us.
Praise the Lord. Ubashaka. Ubashaka. Prayer of healing. You
Yeah.
each receive the Lord's light of 14 points of healing.
Nice.
Praise him.
Not bad.
PHUB. PBUH. Praise be upon him.
Yeah.
Etc.
Etc. Etc.
Okay.
All right. How you doing over there, Clink? Need someone to help you buff it out?
No, I'm.
What are you
all right.
offering?
Offering some buff. Buffs the
So I'll
stuff.
like open
Check
the
his
door
oil.
to my chest and like push a dent out of it. No, I think I'll be okay.
Do you need a hammer or have a hammer? Here, hold still.
No, I'm good. No.
I've seen this trick. If you use some hot water and a plunger,
What's a
just
plunger?
pull that out.
What's a plunger?
It's kind of like you, but made out of wood.
Oh, okay.
It's got a rubber on the end of it.
Whoa.
Suctions things.
Intriguing.
This is a family.
I'll have to make one of
network,
these
man.
plungers sometime. Anyhow, where's your next?
All right.
That is up to y'all. You tell me.
Let's go.
Clink, why don't you move your lights on down that hallway so we can see
My
you
lights
better?
are gone now.
Oh.
I had to use the concentration.
I cast light.
Yeah.
I
So we
cast
should
light on
just
Clink's chest.
What?
okay,
Why don't,
get
you
rid of these dancing lights here.
why don't you cast light on one of their weapons? I don't think that would be the best thing to
I guess.
Venture forward.
All right, I swim on for another 30 feet.
I'll put it on. What's your character's name, Pat?
Oh, Dram. I already have some.
Okay, I put it on Kevin's hammer.
What's the ceiling made out of?
The ceiling seems like it's made out of natural stone.
Is it slimy or anything?
No, it looks like it's mostly seamless. It's not masonry brick or anything like that. It looks like smooth stone, like it was either cut or it's it doesn't have the marks that you would probably associate with that. Let's see here. Who's got? None of you is a dwarf. So the next closest thing would probably be Dran. You can tell that the ceiling does not have the marks that you would associate with stone cutting on it. So it might even have been shaped by magic.
Well, you know, I've been around stone cutting a lot in my life, and I don't think these stones have been cut. I think they've been put there magically. Or naturally. One of the two.
Oh, yeah, spell levitation.
Been bored out by an Alaskan bullworm.
That too.
I'm going to attach my feet to the ceiling and just try to walk along it.
You certainly can do that. You have to flip over or walk up the wall first. But of course, if you do that, that means that your feet will be, like on the ceiling, up out of the water, and then everything from your shins up will actually be upside down under the water. Just so you know.
I don't care. That's what I want to happen.
I appreciate that so much.
He's trying to prevent trench foot.
He's going to get trench face instead.
Trench everything else.
I'm 2'11" and a half, so.
So we're basically all just heads above water.
Except for me, I'm feet above water.
We can't hear you.
Just blah, 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 blah. Alright. Well, so while you explore this way, you said you're heading up to the north here?
Yeah.
Alright, you wanted to swim about 30 feet.
About 30 feet, yeah.
So, as you approach the opening, you see kind of a sizable room ahead of you.
What's that to my right?
So, this room is lined with cells, each of which has an ancient, rusting, barred door over the front. And to your right, there is a cage hanging from the ceiling so that you can see it's like partially out of the water. But it is sized to hold someone about as big as you are. So most of it is underwater. It's just attached to the ceiling so the top of it is not submerged.
Oh. Well, this is an awful dark place to be in. Hey guys, I think this is a jail. Or a dungeon, as it were.
Well then. What do you propose we do on that?
Not go inside one of these cells.
I'm going. Here, somebody give me some plaster explosive.
What's either of those things?
Plaster's what you put on the outside of the building.
Yep.
Explosives, what?
What I do in the latrine.
Lord.
Alright, we gotta be able to get in here somehow. You know what? Let's just see if it's locked. Roll investigation, see if it's locked.
Alright. So
Match
which
one.
one do you want to, which one are you going up to? Just the first one?
Yeah, that's the first one. No, you know what? No, let's go to the back one. Nobody ever is locked in the first one. No one important.
Alright, well, There doesn't seem to be like anyone inside the cell, but you can see through the bars down under the water by the light of your makeshift magical torch that there apparently was at some time, because down at the bottom are sodden, mildewed, rubbery bones, and they look like they came not from an animal, but from a person.
Oh my.
The door itself does appear to be locked. And even though it is covered in a thick layer of rust, like, the rust is so thick that it's almost like clay, but there is still a core of some really strong metal at the center of it, which is why it hasn't disintegrated completely. So when you pull on it, it shifts, because you're quite strong, but it does not break. And you can see that there is a lock on the door.
Alright. Appears we've been locked out. Or they've been locked in.
Well, was there anything worth getting down there?
All you really see in that first cell, at least, are the bones.
Oh gosh, if we're gonna go around grave robbing, I'll check the hanging cage.
Always a solid plan. Let's do it. Check the
So
hanging
there
cage.
doesn't seem to be anything or anyone in the hanging cage. It appears to be blessedly unoccupied. However, beyond it, you can see a hallway heading back just ahead of you, and of course the room also continues down, and you can see what looks like a line of cells.
I'm going to bend upward instead of, just bow like I'm bowing, bring my head above water and say,
I wish we could drain the water some way.
I wonder if there's a drain out.
Obviously not, or else it wouldn't be flooded.
Well, maybe it hasn't been opened. We should look around here. Do some more investigating. See what we can find.
All right. Well, if you want to look around, feel free to roll some perception checks. Tell me what you get.
Alright. 17.
8.
Anyone else searching?
Frankenfurter is not does not need to search.
Good. Well, I guess Althar will also do a perception, and he is very He's very perceptive. Let's see here. 24.
It is very perceptive.
The most
So-
perceptive.
There's a dice bowl in my backpack.
Searching around,
Go here. Use this mouse pad.
you do not find anything in the next several cells, other than the remains of previous occupants. Now, when you turn a corner around the right-hand wall, you see this, a much larger cell, and thankfully, or perhaps worryingly, it is empty, although the grated door is intact. But it was obviously meant to hold someone or something larger than a person.
Well, that's unnerving.
Always.
Also, Althar,
Yeah.
You notice something strange. There is a sensation in the water. Like I said before, the only movement that you can really feel is from each other as you are treading water and swimming around. But it feels like something just went behind you.
Elthar, you have that constipated look on your face again.
Something just moved behind me. Was it one of you?
Well, I'm on the ceiling.
Well, you're looking underwater. See if you see something.
I'll dip my head back into the water.
You don't see anything.
I'll raise back up, my head back up. It's okay if you peed in the water. We all understand.
Everybody keep an eye out. There's something in here with us.
It's probably the Dianoga.
What's that?
Trash monster.
That sounds awful.
I know. It tried to take out that hairy fellow, the princess, and her, what's her brother, and that scoundrel. It's a Star Wars reference going over everybody's head.
Gotcha.
I know. I was trying to think of something else to go along with it.
Yeah, I totally missed that one. Yeah.
I mean, still, it could be a Dianoga.
Want to roll spot to see if I see a Dianoga? Oh wait, this.
No, none of you see anything. It doesn't look like there's anything in the water besides you.
What about
So
some
you
air
want to
currents?
continue searching?
Yeah, Althar's going to continue searching. Dram's going to tread water because he is not doing crap.
I'll do some more searching. Are we doing investigation or perception still?
Perception.
Okay. Dang.
Who's got the
Five.
light source, by the way? Because Dram was carrying it, but if you're just treading water, that means it's staying in the middle of the room. So someone's
Althar
going
has
to take
it.
it around. Or
Althar has it and he rolled a 19.
Also, Althar has dark vision.
Never mind. Dram has it and Althar has dark vision.
All right. Well, so in your explorations of the room, it hits a bit of a dead end. You see some more of those hanging cages, and you can see a couple of the larger cells as well, and some of them are occupied, or at least they were at one point. You see a large winged skeleton lying on the sodden floor of one cell, and what looks like a pile of bones that could have potentially been humanoid, just very large, collapsed on the bottom of the other.
I see somebody who's drank a lot of milk.
Right, yes. Somebody cast the enlarge spell and then died.
Embiggen.
What's that in the middle between the two cells?
That is just like it's kind of an alley in between them. There's just a blank wall. There's another one of those hanging cages, but it looks like there's space between, perhaps in order to prevent whoever was in those cells from getting at each other.
Gotcha. Althar is going to swim back to where the rest of the group is.
Did you find anything out there?
Well, there are a few more cells. They're not empty, but everything's dead, it looks like.
Well, I would hope anything down here is dead at this point.
I still think I saw something behind me.
I want to roll an Arcana to see if like maybe something's using magic to turn stuff invisible.
Well, with an Arcana check, you could pick up clues of magic, but in order to actually tell for sure whether magic is present and what kind it was, you would need detect magic.
All right. Well, okay. That'll be fine then. I've got a 20.
Okay.
So my
Yeah,
findings
there's no evidence of anything that you can pick up.
Okay.
All right, move back towards the original room. Go down that hallway.
All right. Well, so as you are moving down this way, Frank,
Yep.
you feel something swim past you.
I'm gonna
going
grab
the
it.
opposite direction.
I'm gonna grab it.
Well, the thing is, you don't see anything.
Oh no.
There doesn't appear to be anything there when you turn to look.
Um,